in the American League right now, which is exactly how we looked at it going into the season, is this is going to be a free-for-all between maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 teams. So I'm confused. That's why baseball is so great, is that people every single day for a living are confused. So I'm just as confused as you are about the Mariners. I can't figure out if they're going to get really good or not.
Well, if you were to look at them, and I mean, April was such a weird story because the offense was off the charts. It was one of the best offenses in baseball, and the pitching was struggling because of injury. And then May comes, and everybody that was red hot went ice cold, and now we're kind of in a no man's land. The pitching's getting healthier, but the offense goes to sleep every other game. It just, 15 strikeouts last night to Lucas Giolito. I mean, with all due respect to him, it's not like he's one of the premier aces in the league, and he just shut this entire offense down. And we're looking at it going, you just swept the Guardians. You were hitting great, you were pitching great, and then you come out in this game and you couldn't have looked more inept. And it makes it hard to understand where their needs truly are as we approach that trade deadline.
Yeah, I mean, if you had told me in the middle of June that the Mariners would be higher in the American League rankings in runs scored than they would be in ERA, I would be really confused. I mean, I thought this team was good enough to have, lead the American League in ERA, and right now they're ninth and they're seventh in runs scored. The point is, if I were a Mariners fan, I would actually be encouraged where the team is right now, given that they haven't pitched for the most part, the way that we thought they would. But now with George Kirby back and, with other people getting healthy finally, the way they throw out of the bullpen for the most part, I would feel like, hey, this team is due for a great stretch of great starting pitching, which they really haven't gotten yet. And that's due to come. And when that does, if they can score a few runs, maybe they can really make some headway and make a playoff berth in the American League.
Yeah, and one of those guys, Tim, is Bryce Miller. And, coming into the season, he a lot of people were predicting he was going to be a Cy Young candidate. And so, I mean, it almost kind of feels like what you're talking about, that it's like a secret weapon that they have maybe in the second half of the season, where those guys get back to where they were last year, and especially Bryce Miller, it seems.
Yes. Let's say Bryce Miller gets really hot and starts to throw the way that everyone knows he can. Now you got Logan Gilbert back also. Andrew Kirby's back. He had a 0 walk, 14 strikeout game recently. I mean, you add those three guys at the top of their game, especially Bryce Miller, who's one guy with, again, overpowering stuff. Suddenly that Mariner pitching staff can take on anybody, which we all knew it could. It just really hasn't happened yet. So it's hard to tell a Mariner fan to be patient, but be patient. You got to think this starting rotation is going to get a whole lot better, and Bryce Miller is a part of that.
Tim, what do you think, because of what you just talked about with the American League, that it's just kind of jumbled and there are all these teams floating, you don't know who anybody is, that leads you to believe most of these teams are going to believe they're in it. So when it comes to the trade deadline, everybody's going to be out there clamoring for pitching and hitting and middle relief, whatever their needs are. And nobody, that maybe that's going to limit the amount of sellers there would otherwise be. Do you see it that way, that maybe the deals that would otherwise be there in other seasons may not be there this year because so many teams feel like, hey, we're in the thick of this because nobody's running away with it?
Right. I just don't know how, if you're a couple games, under or over 500 and you're a couple games out of the wild card, I just don't see how you can give up in this day and age at the end of July and say we're not going to make it to the playoffs. You have to try, which leaves basically the Rockies and the White Sox and just a few of the Marlins, maybe the Orioles, just a few other teams that are going to be, willing to give up players at the deadline as opposed to try to acquire them. So it's going to be a really interesting run. And again, this is where GMs earn all their money, like right now. Are we in this? Are we out of it? Are we going to take a chance and go get a number one starter or that big bat that we have to add for the middle of the order? And do we give up our kids in order to do this? These are huge decisions that will be made in the next month and a half. And GMs are all on the clock, especially after the big deal with Rafael Devers the other day.
Well, and unsurprisingly, Julio, one of those sort of question marks. Just fantastic defensively, but right now he's batting 257. He's got 10 home runs. We always say, this offense goes the way of Julio. It's going the way of Cal Raleigh much more, but this year. But what do you make of Julio, and does his defense make up enough to warrant what his status is here in Seattle?
No, he's going to have to hit more than this. When I say hit, he's going to have to produce a lot more than this because he's good enough to produce a lot more than this. Cal Raleigh's great, but he's slugging almost 200 points higher than Julio is right now, and that just doesn't follow. I mean, Cal Raleigh's been great, but Julio and Randy Arozarena really have got to start to hit the ball out of the ballpark and get some big hits and drive in some runs and do some things. Otherwise, it's going to be hard to make the playoffs. But again, the best hope for the Mariners really is that so few teams are really, really good right now. And so that wild card is going to be up between so many teams, and to be one game over 500, struggle the way the Mariners have, and be a half a game out of the wild card right now, I got to think that's a pretty good sign. They have to look at this and say, we're going to play better from here.
How do you view Julio, Tim, at this point? Because I think for a while we were always like, well, he's young, and he is young. He's 24 years old, but he's in his fourth season now, and he was anointed early. He got that big contract early. By way of comparison, he's not getting superstar money, but for a Mariner organization that is reluctant to spend big, it's a big deal. And there's he's marketed as the face and the superstar, a generational talent. Do you ever? Because I find myself, I love the guy. I think he's loaded with ability, but I'm looking at him going, well, maybe we misjudged him, and maybe he's not Griffey, maybe he's not A-Rod, maybe he's just going to be a very good player, but maybe not a special one that is that guy from April through September. How do you view him?
Well, he's not Griffey, and he'll never be Griffey because Ken Griffey Jr. was that great. But I think look, I'm not giving up on any level with anyone who isn't even 25 years old yet. But I think you're right. Part of the problem is after his first full year, we did a thing at ESPN, and he was voted like the 8th best player in baseball after one season, which just seemed a little bit early for me. And it did trouble me for his sake a couple years ago. I know when he got off to that terrible start, one of the Mariners guys says, he's late on everything. And when a young hitter who's that big and that strong and that good is late on everything, that makes you worry. Now, I fully expect him to get hot, as he is known to do. I fully expect him to be way more productive the rest of this season than he's been to this point. But sure, it's a little bit odd to wonder. We should be wondering about a 24-year-old when, with that kind of talent, there should be very, very little concerns about him.
Hey, Tim, as far as the All-Star game goes, I feel like Andres Munoz probably going to get selected. But, you got Cal, certainly. But what about Julio? What about J.P. Crawford, for example? Can you see your way clear to those guys being All-Stars?
Certainly, I need to go through everybody else. I just haven't looked at the shortstops and see where JP finishes among the American leaguers. But yeah, and there's always a case if you get hot right before the All-Star break, you can make the All-Star team. But my guess is they probably just have 2 All-Stars, the closer and the catcher right now. But that can always change, and with injuries and guys who can't pitch and drop off for some reason, more than 34, 35, 36 guys make it every year. So I wouldn't be surprised if a 3rd or 4th Mariner ends up there, but somebody's going to have to get hot here, that's for sure.
Hey, Tim, how do you view minor? We see the ratings of the Mariners system. They've got 9 of the top 100, and they've got this incredible farm system, but you know better than anybody. That doesn't mean those guys step up to the big league level and they all turn into superstars. There's a lot that don't do anything. So how do you value the prospects in a way that you're like, I can't give up on this guy because of his potential, or do you look at them as their currency, and if they can help the team whose window is open right now, then you make a deal with those guys? How do you view a Harry Ford? How do you view some of those young guys that we hear their names over and over?
Yeah, the Mariners have a very good farm system, period, and I think the best way to build is through your farm system. However, Baseball is a different game than basketball and football in that, if you play linebacker at Michigan and you love to hit people and you're really, really good and you play at that level for 4 years, you're going to start in the NFL as a rookie. But it doesn't work that way in baseball because it just is so difficult to play. The learning curve is so deep that it just takes an awful long time. So I'm not this guy who says, hey, you got to keep all your prospects. They're all going to be great. When the game just weeds you out eventually because you better be really, really good to excel at a game that is this difficult to play. So the point is, if the Mariners have a chance to get somebody who they are absolutely certain is going to move them to the next level, I think you got to trade a young player or two. I think it has to be done. And I say that for all teams, because if you just wait for prospects to come up and be great, it doesn't always work out.
Then there's the fear of the guy ends up, you trade him away, and he becomes a superstar.
Right. And again, that's why this time of all GMs are under the gun. This is when they earn all their money. Are we in? Are we out? Do we trade that kid or do we hang on to him? I mean, there are hundreds of cases that we could talk about. Okay, I can't believe they traded him, and then the guy turns out to be not the great player. And then you say, I can't believe they traded him, and he turns out to be a star. Happens all the time.
Hey, what about this Devers deal? I mean, this is pretty amazing. I know he's got a press conference coming up here in about an hour, it sounds like. But, just what did you learn about that trade, and how shocking was it to you?
Yeah, I was stunned because even though I knew the Red Sox were at least considering moving him, I didn't see it happening. I didn't see it happening this early. I didn't see him going to the Giants. But this is really going to help the Giants, who are desperate in some cases, like the Mariners are, for a big hitter, and he is going to fill a couple of holes on that team in a much-needed way. The Red Sox tried to move him off of third base to DH, and he resisted. Then they asked him to move to first base, and he resisted. Look, I wouldn't be happy if I were Rafael Devers either with the way that the Red Sox treated him, and the Red Sox made their fair share of mistakes here in this whole process. But in the end, sorry, you have to do what the manager tells you to do. You have to do what the boss tells you to do. And Devers just wasn't happy there, and they looked at it and said, well, maybe it's better if we move him along. Very risky move by the Red Sox, but part of me says if a guy doesn't want to play there, let's move him and get something in return. And they got a pretty decent haul given how good Devers has been and will be moving forward.
Hey, Tim, what's your take on the front office of this team? Jerry Dipoto, Justin Hollander, do they take a lot of slings and arrows out here? A lot of what comes their way is brought on by comments that they make, and I'm talking more specifically about Jerry. But just from the outside, what is your opinion of the job he's done and the amount of time that he's been here?
Yeah, I think he certainly has done okay. I'm not slinging any arrows at Jerry Dipoto. He tries, he works, he's a former player, he knows what he's doing. And he's not the only GM who gets pounded in his home city all the time. It happens all over the game. But, again, the playoff run of a couple of years ago was really impressive, but you can't just have one, and you got to keep going. And this is where we're going to judge Jerry Dipoto. What does he do in the trade deadline this year? Who's he going to go get that is going to get the Mariners to the playoffs? Because if they don't get to the playoffs, then there are going to be a lot more arrows slung at the GM and the whole front office.
Hey, last one before we let you go, Tim. Same thought on Dan Wilson, a guy that obviously is a Mariner legend. He's beloved out here, and they had a 34-game stretch last year with him and Edgar in charge, and things went really well. So everybody felt like, well, that's going to be how it is moving forward. Well, it started out that way in April, and things changed, and now here we are, just trying to figure out who this team is at this point, seeing some of the same old problems crop up. So I'm curious from your perspective, your opinion on the job that Dan Wilson's done to this point.
Yeah, I think he has done fine also, but now they got to start to win. I mean, managing in the big leagues is really hard to do. Buck Showalter always has convinced me there's an art to doing this. This is why you go to winter ball and go manage. It's why you go manage in the minor leagues for years and years. You can't just take a guy flip him in there and say, you're the manager now. Well, we do that all the time in the big leagues, and it takes time to learn how to do the job. So I'm going to give Dan Wilson more than the time he's gotten so far to really judge what kind of manager he is. When you don't score runs and then occasionally you don't pitch particularly well, sorry, I'm not blaming the manager for that.
We resisted asking you about Jorge Polanco. It's probably only funny when SVP does it, I think.
Is that I'm a complete sucker for the long Baltimore O's. Even I can't do it. Only SVP, but you took a good run at it.
That was very, very generous of you, Tim. Yes, Tim Kurkjian, a legend, one of the best. Always a great conversation. Tim, we really appreciate you taking time with us as always. Thank you so much, and hopefully we get a chance to talk again soon.
Okay, my pleasure, fellas. Thanks.
There you go, the great Tim Kurkjian. Like, he was very gracious. You took a good run at it.
Who was the pitcher last night for Boston?
Giolito.
Is that how you say it?
Giolito. I don't know how to do the Giolito.
Yeah.
I haven't heard. I actually haven't heard. I've heard you talk about SVP doing that. I actually haven't heard him do it.
Yeah, he picks all these names that end in O's, and and it just cracks Kurkjian up. He's a sucker for it, like he said. Other than that, I think he does such a great job because it kind of makes you realize we don't have the corner on the misery market, here in Seattle. I mean, there's lots of other places. The questions, that he answered about, Jerry DiPoto, and same thing with Dan Wilson. It's like, okay, you're going to have times where why did he make that move, or why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do that? And then same thing, about trading away prospects. It's just you're going to get nailed if you trade away a guy that ends up becoming a superstar somewhere else. So it's just part of the gig. So and look, I'm not saying that we shouldn't complain. I think everybody's you have your right. That's part of being a fan. But I don't know. I guess it's somewhat comforting to know that there's other markets that are going through the same thing.
Oh yeah. You're right. It's not unique to Seattle.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, my goodness, imagine being a Rockies fan. Or a White Sox fan, or
why would you even go to the games? I
think just to enjoy the weather and
have a couple beers.
If you're baseball, look. I'm a sucker. I grew up with baseball, played it my whole life. I love the game. I will watch the Mariners, and I would watch them even if this weren't my job. Maybe I wouldn't be as diligent, but I'd still pay attention. I would still watch because I love baseball, and there's always that hope. I think the one thing that all those other fan bases have over the Mariner fan base, whether it's the Rockies, the White Sox, any other team we look at that stinks, the A's, they've all been to a World Series. They've at least been. They've not all won, but they've at least been. The Mariners are the only team that has never been to a World Series. And they've been to a playoff one time in over 2 decades.
Yeah.
I don't think we're asking a ton. I don't think it's a greedy fan base. I don't think we're asking for anything that's, out of this just crazy talk. How could you even think that that's a realistic? I think, expecting a postseason appearance is fair. I think expecting an appearance in a World Series at some point before we all die is fair.
That's fairly morbid, Bob.
Well, look, there are a lot of longtime Mariner fans, some of which aren't with us anymore, Dave, that never got a chance to see this team get to a World Series. And that'll be true every year that they don't get there. There'll be those older fans that don't make it to the, I'm hoping that I make it to the time that I'm around when they get to a World Series, because they've been around since, 77? We're still looking. We're still looking.
Yeah, but I'm thinking you're going to have a great seat. Hopefully you'll be looking down and not up, Bob.
Yeah. I don't seriously.
No, look, I think just because the tease of, they've done just a fantastic job with the pitching and getting that in and, tying up a guy like Cal. What a great move.
Yeah,
really, and
they've had great players throughout their history, Hall of Famers.
Yeah,
some of the greatest. Griffey is the greatest player I've ever seen in person. Obviously, not being old enough to have seen, Willie Mays or Hank Aaron or any of those guys. I never watched them in person, but as far as a guy I've seen in person, greatest player ever that I've seen. And they've had him. They've had Ichiro. They've had Randy and Felix and Edgar and A-Rod. They've had elite superstar Hall of Fame players on this team throughout the years. Yeah. And they've just never been able to do it. It's just never happened for them. They set the record. They won 116 games in 2001. Mm-hmm. Set the record. Didn't get to the World Series that year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and 253 texted in and said, heck, even the great Dodgers traded Yordan Alvarez away as a prospect and got nothing out of it. So, I mean, that happens.
Mariners got rid of David Ortiz.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when it comes to prospects, that's the risk you run. It's a gamble. You're gambling on, all right, what we get in return is going to be much more beneficial to us, at least while our competitive window is open, than this kid who might take years and years to develop and maybe never develop into anything. They could be Junior. They could be Nick Franklin. Yeah. They could be, they could be A-Rod. They could be Dustin Ackley. You don't know. I mean, it's such an inexact science, and people will look at somebody. I was having an argument with somebody on Twitter yesterday who said, you got to call up Harry Ford. He's an immediate improvement over Garver. I'm like, well, you don't know what he looks like against big league pitching?
No.
And they're bringing up what he did in the WBC. I'm like, look, first of all, where's he going to play? Mm-hmm. You call up Harry Ford, what's he going to do? He's going to sit on the bench. Right. Is he going to play every fifth day? Are you going to take Polanco out of the lineup as the DH and put in a kid who's unproven at this level as your DH? Yeah. It does him no good to come up here and sit. And you have no idea how he's going to function against big league hitters. I think, and we talked about this, if you're looking to the minor leagues to bring up a guy who's never played at this level to come rescue the team, you're in a bad spot.
Big trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he made a great point, too, that, comparing it to football, is that he's right. I mean, if you're a guy who's a first-round draft choice, you're going to start. You're going to start in the NFL.
Yeah.
If you
it's
like
a different
to run
jump.
And hit, yeah, totally. So, yeah, it's one of those things I think you just have to not look back on, I guess, but and just hope that Jerry's making the best moves that he can.
I like this. The 425 says, my Boston relatives love to remind me about that Ortiz trade every time I see those Belichick cultists.
Yeah, thanks for that, guy. Appreciate that.
Look, we're not talking to you right now, buddy, who showed up in his Red Sox shirt today. Okay, is that a Red Sox hat
yesterday?
too?
Yeah.
What kind of crap was that yesterday? We heard from you. I'm rooting for the boys, not the team, or something like that.
Yeah, well, the boys all won.
So now he's all geared up in his Boston gear.
Yeah.
Ugh. Awful look. What a terrible look.
It's a good thing you're not an Astro fan.
Oh my, we'd have to have somebody else in today.
Orange is just gross.
Ugh. Meanwhile, it's a quieter time in the NFL, but it's still always a good time to talk to this guy. One of the 50 greatest Seahawks ever and Dave Wyman's all-time favorite Seahawk. Lofa Tatupu is going to join us next with Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710.
If you haven't subscribed to Seattle Sports on YouTube,
it's amazing. We just got to keep hammering it home.
You're missing part of the game.
The rest is history.
There's so much more than what happens on the field.
This is the place I love.
Subscribe now for in-depth inside information with Brock and Salk.
The Mariners' hit rate was way higher than that.
Bump and Stacy.
Cal's like a coach out there.
Wyman and Bob.
One day, breaking that record would be pretty cool.
Stream it live with the local sports leader on YouTube, Seattle Sports.
Look at that weather outside. I absolutely love this. As a motorcycle rider, I know I'm speaking to motorcycle riders out there that feel the same exact way. Great weather, perfect time to get out on the bike. I'm riding to work every day, but I'm always reminded by the more experienced riders that it's not a matter of if, but when that crash happens. And hopefully it's not a serious one, but if you are somebody who was injured in a motorcycle crash, do not settle for firms that say they're motorcycle lawyers. Trust the ones who actually live it. And I'm talking about Law Tigers. They've been part of the writing community for nearly a quarter century nationwide. They're there 24/7, 365 days a year because riders deserve real support whenever they need it. Law Tigers is the resource riders can turn to when they're in need. They're going to help you get your bike repaired, your gear repaired, or replaced. All of it replaced. Whatever you need, they are there for you. They're out at all the events, supporting all clubs, all shops. The Law Tigers are always by your side. Your case evaluation, completely free. They don't get paid until you get paid. And Law Tigers, you're never riding alone, most importantly. Law Tigers are Washington's motorcycle lawyers. Jimmy Cook, 539 Broadway, Unit 104, Tacoma, Washington, 98402.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, and outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. Optima Tax Relief. Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code POWER to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Mariners looking to find their way back to the win column tonight. Game 2 of their series against the Boston Red Sox happening at T-Mobile Park. They send Brian Wu to the hill in hopes of returning to the win column. Walker Buehler going for the Red Sox. You can catch all the action starting at 5:30 with the pregame show. 6:40 first pitch right here, Seattle Sports on 710. Meanwhile, tough news for the Indiana Pacers. They lose last night 120-109 to the Oklahoma City Thunder, now trailing in that series 3-2, but their star, Tyrese Halliburton, suffered a strained right calf. He's going to undergo an MRI to determine the severity of the strain. Aggravated that injury in the first quarter, although he returned in the second quarter with the calf wrapped up to finish the game. So we'll see where he's at after the MRI results come in.
Snapshot brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Wyman and Bob.
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton.
We've talked a lot about the Seahawks unveiling their top 50 players of all time. We cast our votes. We talked about each category, and there are certain players, Dave, that were just no-brainers. That you just looked at and went, well, should we even vote on this guy? I mean, shouldn't there just be automatic passage for certain players? And I think this guy falls into that category. I know he does for you. You've made that statement. He's your all-time favorite Seahawk, and he's one of our favorites. Just favorite people in general. With us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline, one of the 50 greatest ever to put on that Seahawks uniform, Lofa Tatupu is with us. How are you, man?
Guys, it's been so long. I'm doing great. How are you?
Of course you are.
We're doing great. And how cool is that? You're a guy that's received a lot of accolades over your career, deservedly so, but to be named one of the 50 greatest to ever put on that uniform, what's that like for you?
Oh, just quite an honor, incredibly grateful and humbling. I don't even know who I was picked, but I was actually a little surprised. 50, there's so many guys, that should be in there. So, I'm sure there were some snubs, and I feel bad because, some of them probably teammates and everything, but so many great players, and just honored that I got to represent this organization.
Well, the biggest snub is the guy sitting in the studio with me, Lofa.
Oh, no.
That's the snub right there.
What?
Dave Wyman.
Take me out and put Wyman in. Put him in.
It's not a popularity contest, people. Okay. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, well, if you're a guy that had 3 interceptions in a game and you're pissed because you should have had 4, you belong on that list. That was Lofa Tatupu.
Oh, man. Well, that's why I played linebacker, Otherwise, I would have been a running back.
Yeah. That's right.
A running back would have caught all 4 of those.
That's right. Hey, you know what? And real quick, just on the 50, before we get to some of the Seahawks stuff with their OTAs and everything, I thought they did a really good job with that because they had like Keith Butler, and I know you appreciated his game, Lofa, and I thought they did a really good job of like taking guys from each era. And like, because there's a lot of people that probably don't remember Keith Butler. Same thing with the 2 guards, Brian Millard and Edwin Bailey. I felt like those guys definitely, needed that recognition just because of in that era. I don't know. I felt like they did a great job with it. I thought, maybe Big Play Babs was maybe my one. But other than that, I thought they did a good job.
I wanted to see, and I would have been fine if I was left out if they put Locklear. I wanted that whole starting 5 that we rode to the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
That offensive line. I wanted all of them in there. So I thought that would have been, just the right thing to do because that was our whole team. We made some plays outside of that, but just the records that Sean was able to get and then, the hard work of those guys, up front, it was incredible to watch.
Yeah. Lofa, Dave always talks about Keith Butler being, such a huge influence and a guy that really took him under his wing as a young player in this league. Who was that guy for you? Who was a big influence, or maybe somebody that took you under their wing when you came into the league as a rookie?
Oh, I had a lot of great vets. That linebacker room, they were all cool. But Jamie Sharper, Isaiah Kazavinsky, Kevin Bentley, Nico Kudavides, like all of the old elder statesmen, they were, really receptive of two undersized rookies as when we got drafted, me and Leroy Hill. But I think that was also a special part. I had Leroy as a rook to go through it with too, so I was never alone. But Sharper, just I used to pick his brain about the Ravens defense he was on, that vaunted Ravens defense, and just what kind of things worked and how he played. And so just a wealth of knowledge, all of them. But they were my big bros, man. They took care of me.
Hey, Lofa, looking at what the Seahawks have done in the offseason, and I know people are starting to rate all those, rank all of those moves and everything. I thought one that was really cool, the way that happened, is that the DK trade and then the Geno trade, they packaged those two picks together, moved up, and got Eamon Warry, and which I thought was really a great move. But just as far as like that move, I think in general, I think it's cool that you can always look and go, okay, that's the product of that trade. But as far as what you saw in the draft, and he probably could have been a first rounder as well, Eamon Warry.
Oh yeah, phenomenal athlete, and can really do anything. And I think probably in terms of like Hamilton that McDonald had over in Baltimore. Just
Hamilton.
You can line him up anywhere, and big time, player, incredible in space, whether man or zone. You can match up with anybody, and just looks like a phenomenal football player. So there's so much versatility that he provides, and now you can shift Spoon around. You can do other things and really get creative and not know who's blitzing and who's in coverage, and still be fine on the back end matchup-wise.
Hey, Lofa, what do you take away from these, OTAs and mini camps where they're not wearing pads, they're not hitting, not tackling? It's for somebody like me out there, it's the interior play is really hard to judge. O linemen, D linemen. Obviously, you can look at quarterbacks, receivers, and all that. But what as a guy that played the game and went through all of these, what do you take away from it when you watch it?
Every year, just try to, just see who's giving effort and who's got a clear understanding of the defense. A lot is being thrown at them that, for a young guy could really slow them down and maybe not look like the athlete that they really are. So who's paying attention, who's picking up the details and the little things of the defense day in and day out. But, yeah, it used to drive me nuts, too, because when I first got here, they're all holding you, and then you're just like, dude, when the pads come on, it's on. Like, they're not going to go away with this stuff. And
they're cheaters.
Yeah, exactly. And they were, they're laughing, and I was like, hey, laugh now, cry later. So, because fellas, I did not look awesome without the pads on. I don't even think I look good with the pads on, but I'm just saying it was just, when I watch the film, I could see what, reporters and everything saying. He's like, oh, he's tiny, and he's just glued to blocks. So I was like, yeah, because I'm going to run through those guys when we have the pads on.
Yeah, exactly. And it seems like with McDonald, he's very old school that way. I'm wondering if we're going to see a lot more contact out there, because I hear him more than any other coach, and even around the league talking about, well, it doesn't matter until we get the pads on. So, yeah, I feel like I really like the old school nature of Mike McDonald. What have been your impressions?
Oh, I'm thoroughly impressed. Was he 36, 37, and just everything that putting a staff together, like the latest possible that you could have put a staff together, because he was the last hire, I believe. And then the mixture of NFL and then a lot of college coaches, but just 10-7, whatever we want. It was like, that's your first impression. That's your first season. That's incredible. And so I really feel like just scratching the surface of what is about to. He's going to be one of the greats. I fully believe it. Just his attention to detail, the discipline really stands out. And so can't wait to see once he continue to get a couple more of his drafts in with John. And I thought this draft, man, there's like 6 or 7 like real future starters, like players in this draft. Like this, I like seeing that. And so there's 2 guys specifically, Horton and Martinez, the running back. Those 2 guys, I really enjoyed watching them in college. Just the way Horton, he has a higher understanding, spatial awareness, just out there in a field and, zone, and then athletic enough to run away from anybody, and incredible body control. And then Martinez, he's a dog, man. He keeps those legs churning. It's old school, throwback, great vision and feel out there.
We've talked about the defense in the second half of last season, Lofa. They were one of the best defenses in the league. And it feels like, they're going to pick up where they left off and be even better. I mean, the turnover on that side of the ball has been pretty limited. They've just added to the depth. Is it fair to expect them to be that defense game one right out of the gates?
I think it is. Because, they were just building, right, the foundation and getting an understanding of what McDonald wants to do schematically, right? Once you get that in, now you just keep building on it. And so, the off season, this is great for them. And you come back to camp and, just a couple pieces added, but just they know what's expected and how to play together. Like, that's the biggest thing is, like, can everybody do their job to the best of their ability? And then, just get to the ball. That's after you did your job, now you just get to the ball, and the rest will fall in place. So, incredible jump, I think, after the bye week from 28th to 14th. And I can't wait to see, just a couple more, turnovers, and, it'll be one of the defenses that he's always had everywhere he's went.
Now, Lofa, I admit that I've always been kind of pissed at USC because they were the only Pac-10 team that didn't recruit me out of high school. But I know you love your USC guys and Sam Darnold. And it was ridiculous. Like even the national radio guys were talking about how he threw a couple interceptions and in the 7-on-7 or I don't even know, maybe it was 11-on-11. But I mean, I thought number one, I chalked it up to it's practice, okay, and we're in June, May and June, but then. Also just the defense is playing really well out there. But as far as Sam Darnold goes, your USC fellow alum, what do you like about him? And just kind of after having seen him a little bit, what do you think about his leadership, his style, everything?
Yeah, he just got to be himself. I mean, he can play ball, and He's been to a couple different teams, right? He's really grown up since he got drafted and kind of found his way, especially last year in Minnesota. Really proud of him for that, and just be yourself, man, as a leader, and just keep picking guys up, and even like the scheme too. Like he's learning a whole new playbook under Kubiak, so I'm sure maybe there is some crossover similarities because. A lot of these coaching trees have crossover, right? Whether it's terminology, verbiage, the plays, but understanding, the best situations to be put in, and then just taking it from there and being himself. So I'm excited to see what he's got. All the tools. He's got the talent. Athleticism, uses legs when he does get in a jam. But so just have fun and be yourself. I just can't wait to see it.
We were talking about the national perception of this team and some of the predictions, and it seems like, it's 7.5 wins, 8.5 wins seems to be the over-under if you're looking at the odds, which, I don't know, Dave and I were talking about, that seems a little bit low, but maybe we're drinking the Kool-Aid. I don't know. It feels like the defense is going to be better right out of the gates than it was. I guess it's all about the offense, right? You just brought up Sam Darnold. He's new here. We don't know how he fits. Your receiving core is different. There's no more Tyler Lockett, no more DK Metcalf. It's Cooper Kupp, it's MVS, and there's a new offensive coordinator. And we don't really know what it's ultimately going to look like. So when you hear those win totals, does that, based on the questions that we have, does that seem fair, or do you feel like this team's being a bit underrated?
No, I mean, I definitely think that's low in terms of for McDonald's first year. I don't know what it was, but to get 7, right there, and it easily could have been 11 or 12. Like there was a Giants game and the Rams at home. It went to overtime. I think that's low, but good. I like them underestimating us. Right? Just block out the noise. Just stay focused and just do our job. So. But I understand with the receiver room, like you're saying, but then you got to factor in, okay, MVS, but you signed Cooper Kupp, and his wealth of knowledge and wisdom, you give that to all, it's going to speed up the curve. You saw what it did for Puka Nacua. Now, he's one of the greatest talents in the league, so I'm not going to disrespect him and say, like, it was all Kupp. But having him, he would always, when I was watching the games, he would just go directly to him and, like, kind of debrief and say, hey, what did you see? This is what I saw. And that just, speeds up so much the learning curve that now you feel like you've been playing in the NFL for years, even as a rookie.
Hey, Lofa, I was watching them run their drills and really just watching the offense in general, and they're running that wide zone, which, it's like you're watching guards and tackles and centers just almost like sprint, like out to the numbers, and there was a lot of run plays that, were outside the numbers. But, I was talking about it as a linebacker, and I want to get your perspective, but for me, it was like, number one, it's just accentuating the holes. Like the further out you get, it just makes your gap more difficult to take care of. And then there's lots of space out there for the running backs to put their foot in the ground and get north south. But then also the play action pass off of that. I mean, the way they're working on it looks like it's going to put a lot of strain on linebackers.
Oh, absolutely. Well, if you don't play it in tandem with your D line, it's definitely stressful. I just remember playing the Broncos that they had that super wide zone like you're talking about, right? And the linemen are coming up to the next level. Well, all you got to do is have a talk with your D line, be like, hey, you can let that guard straight up, just chase flat, like just go straight down the line of scrimmage and try to force them to to cut back or you're going to make the tackle. And I'm just going to go ahead and, rope-a-dope. I'm going to give a jab step and come right back into the gap behind you.
Yeah.
And now we have two guys free. It's almost like the pick and roll in basketball. And so when you do it like that, and then of course they have bootleg off of that, right? It looks just like it, but if someone's not up in your face right away, you already know it's a pass because those guys with that wide zone action, they get aggressive and it's right up on you immediately.
Hey, a lot of people I hear say you don't need a run game to run play action pass. I disagree with that, but where are you on that? Because I think that absolutely has to be a threat first before you can start running play action pass.
Yeah, I mean if you haven't gotten the first down running the ball, I'm taking another step back just so I'm even more aggressive and more speed, more distance to run downhill and blow you up when I do see the run. Or I'm one step further back into my coverage so I don't have to, now I'm going, 7-8 yards instead of 10 to 12, right? So for sure, you need to run the ball or be a threat or else I'm not going to respect that at all.
Yeah.
Hey, looking at this team, Lofa, and it's still so early, we'll see what they look like in training camp and preseason, but just as we sit right now, what's your biggest concern, or maybe not even concern, what's your biggest curiosity? What are you most anxious to see?
Oh, good question. I guess maybe the new look offense. Just, is the run game going to be, where we've had it in the past and, just churning out yards, and then that's when the shots open up. How's the young guys? Because Arroyo, that's another guy I want to see a lot of. He's a tough matchup. You put him out wide, he can run by those linebackers and the safeties, and then he's just too big for corners. So and then the development of the younger guys, Barner, right? I want to see him. He's tough every time he got it, just turning and running people over. That sets a tone and mentality. When you have guys like that. But definitely you want to see the run game. I want to see because I love the running backs, K9 Sharps, and then the young guys that we've added. But you got to give them opportunity, to get going. And we just haven't really stuck to that. So I want to see if that changes.
Hey, Love, before we let you go, when you were named the top 50, did you get a phone call from somebody? Was it Chuck Arnold, or how did you?
Oh no, I got a beautiful box with a silver football
nice.
The other day, but I got a phone call. Who called? Mario Bailey and my dog Mo Kelly.
Okay.
They, Mo's been here since I got drafted, and so it was cool for him to give me a call. I'm in a meeting. They're like, "Yo, answer your phone." I was like, "Bro, I got things I gotta do too, fellas. All right." and then I was for the first time speechless when they told me, I was named to the team. But it was a great way to find out because I've been here since 05, day one. Mo Kelly, that's my guy.
Well, congratulations on that, Lofa. Well deserved, my friend, and very cool, a very cool honor, and always fun having you on the program. We appreciate you, so thank you so much as always, and hopefully we're going to be talking again soon.
Oh yeah, all right, fellas, you have a great one.
Thanks, buddy.
There you go, Lofa Tatupu, everybody, one of the 50 greatest Seahawks ever.
Yep.
How about that?
That was a no-brainer. You said it when you introduced him. He was a big part of that Super Bowl team. And remember, the defense wasn't really like the centerpiece. I mean, they were good, but that was kind of interesting. He wanted. It was the tackle again? We always forget his name. That he said he wished he'd had.
Locklear?
Locklear, thank you. Yeah. So, I thought that was interesting. That was kind of his one that he thought should have been on there because of that entire offensive line. But I just saw Chris Gray, by the way, the other day, was out at practice. He was up here with his family. But Did
you recognize him?
Not really. Not really.
It's funny seeing some of the older guys. I mean, even older than Chris Gray, like when we saw Chris Warren and some of the older guys that have played for this team, how different they. In his case, I mean, he's small. He looks so much smaller than he did as a player.
Well, I'll say this: when he got close, I could see, oh, okay, that's Chris Gray. But I mean, just looking at him from a distance, it's like, man, it's been a while since we've seen some of those guys back here. So that's going to be cool when the Tampa Bay game, I believe, is the
celebration
home game that they're going to celebrate that probably at halftime.
Is Lofa? Is he one of the smartest football players? Just football IQ?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
that was the difference, right, with him.
Yeah, I remember talking to him his rookie year, and he had a against the Eagles. He had a pick six, and the reason that he jumped the little Y stick there is because and then he knew actually he jumps that. Okay, so then he picks it off, and then he scores a touchdown. The next time they come back with a little thing called a stick nod, which means you're going to run down, out, and then you're going to turn up. Mm-hmm. And Lofa knew that they were going to do that to him. He goes, I jumped the stick route. I knew they were going to come back with the stick nod, which means just he's going to turn up field. And he didn't get a pick on that one, but he ended up tipping the ball. And Bulware gets an interception. So, and he was walking me through that, and I'm like, dude, I figured that out like in my fourth or fifth year.
That was his rookie year?
It was his rookie year. So, I mean, he was phenomenal in that regard. And, and just to listen to him, take you through plays and what he saw and everything. He's one of those guys that was like, I always talk about certain players that can tell you exactly what happened.
Right.
And if that's the case, man, I mean, they know the game.
One of the greats, Lofa Tatupu. If you missed any part of that conversation, you'll be able to find it on the podcast page after the show at seattlesports.com. Meanwhile, Julio's improvement in one area at the plate has led to a decline in another. We'll get some more insight on that coming up next with Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710.
Blue 88 on Brock and Salk.
What have you been hearing about this new Seahawks offense, Brock?
Just the entire group, Salk. They're fit. And this isn't just the eyeball test. And this isn't just, I'm in the best shape of my life, right? They wear the catapult systems. They spend all the money and all the resources. And they know. And this team has been as diligent in their work over the last 3 months as any team here that they can remember.
Every day at 7:45, answering 3 football questions as only Brock Heward can.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman here for Harley Exteriors. They're a local company serving all of Western Washington for 23 years. And when you hear Harley Exteriors, I want you to think windows. They're manufactured right here in Washington, specifically designed for our Pacific Northwest homes and climate. Olympic Series windows are offered exclusively by Harley Exteriors, and this is the window you want. It looks absolutely stunning, much better than a traditional vinyl window, and these windows last up to 60 years. And they're going to lower your energy bills and provide year-round comfort, and they come with a double lifetime fully transferable warranty. And that means not only are you covered for glass breakage or damaged seals or something like that, it's going to help you with the resale and the value of your home. It's very affordable with options like 0 payments and 0 interest up to 12 months for qualified buyers. And this June, buy 3 windows, get 1 free. Plus, an additional $200 off your entire project. So think Harley Exteriors for windows, doors, and more right here in the Puget Sound. Call 833-HARLEY. That's 833-HARLEY. Or you can just go to harleyexteriors.com.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends over at Xfinity. You know, change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, we know that change is all around us. Songs are rewritten and remade. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists, well, they come and go. Even our taste in music, as we get older, can change a bit. But no matter how things change in 5 years, there's one thing that will stay the same. And that is the price of your internet. That's right. Xfinity is introducing a 5-year price guarantee. It means you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Are you surprised? Well, life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Now, restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August of 2024. Go check it all out right online at Xfinity.com/deals.
Church's Chicken is bringing even more flavor to the neighborhood with our Bremerton location, and we can't wait to share what we've been cooking up. So stop by and try our bold, juicy, flavor-to-the-bone fried chicken with all our only at Church's Fixins. Yeah, your newest fave is waiting with unbeatable deals and unmistakable crunch right here at the Church's Chicken in Bremerton on 4000 Wheaton Way. That's right. Come on down. Friends, family, and neighbors welcomed at 4000 Wheaton Way in Bremerton. See you soon. Church's.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The home of the Mariners.
Left off to center. It is on its way. Julio, 2-run home run.
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
I saw her texting, coming up to a stop sign, and so I saw the accident coming, and she T-boned us.
In the blink of an eye, Crystal's life changed when she suffered a severe spinal injury.
The pain was something I had never experienced before in my neck. I got massage therapy. I saw a chiropractor. I was prescribed muscle relaxers so I could sleep. I got depressed. Nothing was relieving the pain.
Drugs, sleepless nights, and depression. Sound familiar? I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist. At Sound Pain Solutions, our treatments include high-dose laser combined with spinal decompression and other comprehensive therapies to rehabilitate damaged discs. We use treatments that are non-surgical, FDA-cleared, drug and pain-free.
I was able to get off my pain medicines, and I was able to sleep through the night, and that was what I was desperate for.
To learn if you're a candidate for our treatment, call us. Sound Pain Solutions. 855-996-0025 or click soundpainsolutions.com.
It is that time of year. I cannot wait for the weather to get warm like it is now on consecutive days. That means I can break the motorcycle out, ride to work, ride all over the place, and I love it more than just about anything. But I also know that it's not a matter of if, but when you get in an accident, what are you going to do? Well, I'll tell you, when you're injured in a motorcycle crash, don't settle for firms that say they're motorcycle lawyers. Trust the ones who live it. Law Tigers has been a part of the writing community for nearly 25 years nationwide. They're here 24/7, 365 days a year because writers deserve real support when they need it. Law Tigers is the resource writers can turn to when they are in need. Law Tigers is out at all the events and supporting all clubs and shops. The Law Tigers are always by your side. Your case evaluation is always free. There are no fees until your case settles. The Law Tigers, you never Never ride alone. Law Tigers, Washington's motorcycle lawyers. Jimmy Cook, 539 Broadway, Unit 104, Tacoma, Washington, 98402.
Wyman and Bob.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Our thanks once again to Lofa Tatupu, who joined us in the previous segment. If you guys are just tuning in and missed that conversation, it'll be on the podcast page after the show at seattlesports.com. Just click the podcast tab, scroll down to our picture, click on that, and it'll be right there waiting for you. Don't forget, you can click subscribe. It's totally free, and it just shows up for you. You never have to think about it. It's a beautiful system.
Just got a picture from Lofa with his dad, Mosi. I didn't realize Mosi played that long.
Was he a linebacker?
No, he was a running back, also out of USC. Played for the Patriots pretty much his entire career. Played 14 years. But anyway, I was at a golf tournament with Mosi was there, and so I remember walking out at the airport, and I think it was at Logan in Boston, and there was this little kid with a mohawk, and I'm like, that kid looks like he's going to be an NFL linebacker. That was Lofa.
Yeah, that picture there, he's got a mohawk on his dad's shoulders.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
But yeah, his dad played for a long time, man. Good player. But yeah, that's a tough family right there.
Wait, so he was a running back and he played 14 years?
Yeah.
That's a long career for a running back.
Running
Holy
back
mackerel.
and fullback. Yeah, no kidding.
Goodness. All right. Well, if you guys, Lofa's always great. So if you guys missed any part of that conversation, you'll be able to find it again on the podcast page at seattlesports.com. Meanwhile, looking at Julio, and we did get some text earlier. We were talking about Julio. 206. Do you guys ever not rag on Julio? Good Lord. Are we ragging on him?
I don't think so.
I think we're asking questions. I think it's fair. I think when somebody is marketed as the face of the franchise, which he still is, like when you see the ads come up like advertising the Red Sox and the Mariners, you'll see a picture of Julio, and then you'll see a picture of whichever obnoxious Red Sox player they want to put up there. But no, I mean, that's how it is. He's still the face. As much as Cal has come into his own, the face of this team is still Julio Rodriguez, and he's a guy that was anointed very early to be a superstar, and the franchise committed to him. So, when he's not producing, I don't think it's ragging on him to ask questions, because he's having a deceptive season in that he's coming up with a lot of hits. But there are a lot of he's not doing any damage. He's not driving in runs. They're not extra base hits. He's become Ichiro, where he's got a lot of infield hits. He's beating the ball into the ground. He is finding it. And look, I'll take that every day over a strikeout. That's great. But when you look at him, you just expect him to be a different kind of player. And we're waiting for that player to emerge that does every year for stretches at a time. And that's been the frustration with Julio, is that he's just not consistent. He just has a real downturn, and then all of a sudden for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, he looks like the best player in baseball, or he's just mashing. It looks like he can't miss. But it becomes, okay, well, how can we see more of that more often? Nobody's going to be that guy game in, game out. Everybody's going to slump. Everybody's going to get cold. But I don't think it's unfair or picking on him to ask about him, to wonder about where his game is at.
Yeah, I mean, there are stretches of more than a month and a half where his OPS is over 1,000, and just intermittently over the last few years. And first of all, addressing the ragging on him, I think we talk a lot about his defense. I mean, he's an incredible center fielder, and I don't know that there's any better, but. Yeah, I mean, as far as the bat goes, you just expect him to, and like we talked to Tim Kurkjian about, this offense goes kind of the way Julio goes. Now this year it's going the way Cal goes, but yeah, I mean, just you talked about it last night. I mean, the meat of your order went over, including Julio. So yeah, it's just frustrating with him, I think, more than anything. And I think that's what we've voiced. We've voiced frustration. Just because we have been teased by those, long periods of time where he's just mashing the ball, but he's just not that consistent.
Yeah. A couple of people weighing in on him. Jeff Passan, who's on with Brock and Salk, he was asked if Julio's he's swinging at a lot of pitches. He's swinging early in counts. There's a lot of swing there. Asking if that swing rate is concerning.
It depends. There's always the cat and mouse game, Brock. And if pitchers understand that your tendency is to swing at the first pitch and try and do damage, they're going to stop throwing strikes on the first pitch, right? Yep. They're going to throw you spin. It's going to be down. It's going to be off the plate. You're not going to see fastballs. But the 0-0 pitch is quite often the best one you're going to see in any given at-bat. I was talking with a player about this yesterday, and, he was complaining that his team doesn't swing at 0 pitches enough. And because of that, teams know that they can steal a strike. And when you're down 0-1 in the count, it's from which you can't come back, but it's the sort of position that's really problematic.
Yeah, so he's aggressive. Look, his strikeout rate has gone down. He's become more of a contact hitter, but it seems to be coming at the sacrificing power. And again, lots of singles. And, again, a single would have been great last night with the bases loaded, but it wasn't just him. This is not just isolating him. That was JP, who's been red hot. Cal has cooled off a bit, but it was Cal who's in the midst of a tremendous year. They all struck out. It was brutal. Jerry DiPoto was on MLB Network, and he was asked how he feels about the trade-off of Julio striking out less, but also slugging less.
Part of it is just the evolution of Julio. He wants to be a complete hitter, and every year he tries to pick up something new that he hadn't done before. He's playing his 24-year-old season. I said this before, our expectations of Julio are sky high for a reason. He's got amazing tools. He's a hard worker. He shows up. He does big things. I think as we enter this season, into his 24-year-old season, he's one of the 10 highest WAR players among center fielders in history through the age of 24. And he's trying to figure out who he is. He doesn't want to just be a power hitter. He wants to be a better hitter. He wants to reduce the strikeouts. I think periodically through this season, we've seen higher walk rates than, lower. But one thing that's been pretty standard with Julio, July, August, and September are the months where he really rolls, and that's when you see the power. And I think we'll see it again.
That would be cool. If we saw that, and because that's,
I agree, that would be cool,
really cool. But that's about the time where maybe the starting rotation comes together. You don't have guys that are going to miss starts. Hopefully get Bryce Miller, or maybe it's Emerson Hancock. Maybe it doesn't work out this year for Miller, but you get that, and then you get hot Julio. And it's kind of interesting listening to Jerry talk about him, because it does kind of look like that when he's at the plate. Like he's still trying to figure out what kind of a player is he? What kind of a hitter is he? And, I just thought last year looked really bad. How he would get jammed up inside, and then he would try to chase things off the plate, down and away. And the number of strikeouts, it just seemed like, anyway, that he was lost. And I don't know, it looks a little bit better, but yeah, I would love to see hot Julio that we've seen in the last, few years. That's about the time that he starts to heat up.
Yeah, it's again, look, I think it's fair to question anybody on the roster. Anybody. Sure. You're on this big league team. We're all watching. We're all invested. We're all Mariner fans watching this team, and when somebody steps up to the plate with runners in scoring position, you're going, that's a big leaguer right there up at the plate. They should be able to do something. And you've got more of that for certain players, for Cal, for Julio, for Rosarena, for Polanco. There are certain players you expect more than the young guys. If Cole Young goes up there and he pops up or strikes out, I'm going, all right, he's a kid. He's getting his first taste of big league ball. Same with Williamson. And, Master Boney, okay, he's not a kid, but he's a role player. Everybody's got a different level of expectation attached to each player. Julio's one of your top 3 paid players on this team. It goes Luis Castillo, Cal, and then Julio. And I'd argue with those that say, well, he's being paid as a superstar. He should play like, well, he's not. If we're comparing him to superstar money in this game, Julio's not getting superstar money. He's getting good money. He's not poor. He's fine. But compared to the superstars in this game, he's not being paid at that level. So I don't have a huge issue with what he's being paid versus what he's producing. He's still a very good player.
Yeah.
And and we've seen him be a brilliant, great player. It's more of, how do we see more of that guy? How do you see that on just a more consistent basis? And I don't think it's an unfair question. I don't think it's ragging on him by any stretch. We're not coming up here going, this guy stinks. Trade him. Drop him in the order. He's a black hole in the lineup. I've seen that. I've seen it all over social media. He's full. Trade him now. He's fool's gold. Get him out while you can still get something for him. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's
what
ragging on Julio.
Well, that's just being overreactionary. I mean, it's just, I get the passion, I get the frustration, but come on, man. You start talking about him like he's an impediment to your success is ridiculous.
And the other thing is there's no salary cap, okay? So it's not like he's sucking up all the money, and then also it's getting cheaper every year, but I don't know. It was kind of somewhat encouraging the way Jerry put that he's still trying to figure out who he is. So, yeah, and I mean, that's kind of what, like, the pitchers talk about, the bullpen guys. It's like, what are you best at? Let's emphasize that. Like, remember Seawald, I got 2 pitches.
Yeah.
Well, throw them really well. So, I mean, maybe Julio can figure that out. But it's to me, it's not frustrating or anything like that because, like I said, there's no salary cap. It's not like he's sucking up all the money, and then, it's getting cheaper every year. And then his defense is phenomenal.
Yeah,
can't say enough
he's
about
a tremendous defensive player. All right, coming up, the internet had some fun with the Red Sox press conference after they traded Devers. We're going to hear about that when we sweep the dial. Coming up with Wyman and Bob, this is Seattle Sports on 710.
Logan Gilbert dazzles in his return.
Swing and a miss. He waves at a splitter. Strike 3. Strikeout number 10 for Logan Gilbert.
But the Mariners come up short in the series opener against the Red Sox.
We were able to get some traffic, just not able to get him in tonight.
Tonight, the Mariners turn to Brian Wu, looking to even the series at 1 apiece. First pitch at 6:40. Wyman and Bob take you up to pregame at 5:30 on Seattle Sports. Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman for Swedish Cyberknife, and June is Men's Health Month, and it's important for men to communicate about their issues relating to their health, especially family health history. Prostate cancer has been in the news, and I recently spoke with Dr. Landis from the Swedish Cancer Institute, and he said prostate cancer is very common. About 1 in 8 men will develop prostate cancer here in the U.S., and that ends up being about 300,000 cases per year. And prostate cancer oftentimes has no symptoms, so people should definitely ask to have a PSA screening from their primary care doc and anyone age 50 or over. And especially if you have a family history, really it's starting at 45. It's pretty typical. So if diagnosed patients might want to seek Swedish Cyberknife for treatment, Dr. Landis explained he hears from patients all the time is that the treatment really was amazing and they didn't have to take time off of work. The side effects were really minimal and there was minimal interruption in their life. So treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife. Go to swedish.org/cyberknife prostate.
Hey, Mike Salk here, and great news this August. Luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. Yes, the hotel is finally opening. You can book now for an unforgettable summer experience at snocasino.com. Breathtaking views of the Cascades in Snoqualmie Valley, an expanded non-smoking gaming floor, awesome destination spa, a 2,000-seat entertainment space and convention center, and yes, new food venues, restaurants as well. You can book at snocasino.com. Seattle's closest. It's now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, we offer premium windows that are 25% more energy efficient, reduce noise by 50%, and come with clean glass technology. And Leak Armor Installation gives you a lifetime warranty to protect your home. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com.
When it comes to the security of your business, doubts can creep in about who you're trusting to protect it. At Bay Alarm, we got you. For nearly 80 years, we've been putting our customers' minds at ease with our advanced technology and personalized support. Feeling insecure about your current security service? Visit BayAlarm.com today.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
The home of the Mariners.
One hopper snared at short. On a quick hop by J.P. Crawford. That guy's a magician over there at shortstop.
Seattle Sports.
Download the Seattle Sports app.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
And 6/22/25. New customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
Well, here in our region, it's really common for homes to have damaged insulation or even no insulation at all in their crawl space or attic. Well, in the winter, that'll make your home cold and drafty. And in the summer months, it can turn your home into an oven. It's Mike Salk here, and utility companies have special incentives right now to help with the cost of having your home properly insulated, including a once-in-a-lifetime rebate from Puget Sound Energy. So if you're a PSE customer and your home was built before 1990, you could qualify to receive a rebate on up to 95% of the cost to properly insulate your crawl space and attic. Yes, they will cover up to 95% of the cost. And if you're anything like me, you love the idea of somebody else paying to improve your home, add value to it, and save you money along the way. How good does that sound? Don't wait. Call Crawl Pros to learn what's going on behind that crawl space and attic hatch for free, and then what energy rebates you're eligible for. If you're worried about critters, mold, water damage, insulation issues, or anything else related to your crawl space or attic, schedule a free corner-to-corner inspection at crawlpros.com.
Sweeping the dial. Scanning the airwaves for the most interesting and entertaining stories of the day. Sweeping the dial. Every afternoon at 4:45 with Wyman and Bob.
Presented by Silver Reef Casino Resort.
What the hell is going on back there?
I had them out of order.
You know what the problem is? We got a Boston Red Sox fan running the show.
See what happens, Dave?
See what happens?
I just can't do anything right, huh?
Well, he's all focused on Devers. He's all focused on crochet. He's not thinking about the show.
Yeah, so Jerry Dipoto was on MLB Network yesterday. We heard from him earlier on a couple of things. He also gave a more definitive, kind of slightly longer timeline when asked about Bryce Miller's return.
You know, it's going to be about 4 to 6 weeks until we really have a good gauge on that, and we're hoping that he's responsive to the treatments this time. You know, obviously last time it didn't go great, and you know, we really just want to do the right thing by Bryce. We've done a very good job, I think, as an organization of maintaining pitcher health over the years. And then this year, it's all coming back on us. And the priority is just making sure that these guys are healthy for the long haul.
Yeah, he's right about that. They've had an incredible stretch of good fortune when it comes to the health of their rotation.
Well, how much of it do you think is good fortune and how much is the way that they handle their pitchers?
I think it's both. Yeah. I think look across the league. You talked about it before, how the start of last season, how one pitcher after another was down out of the gates for the year. I mean, that's just the nature of pitching. When they throw that hard and you're putting that much torque on your shoulder and your elbow, it's kind of not if, but when something goes wrong. And you could have perfect mechanics and everything. There are just very few pitchers that come out of their career of any length unscathed. And Mariners aren't immune to it. They can take every precaution and be as cautious as they want, and they do it as well as anybody in baseball by everybody's estimation outside of this market. But you saw it this year. I mean, you hit 3 of your 5.
Yeah. I got to say, though, to me, and it's not like it's not urgent, but, just the emergence of Emerson Hancock. Now, we'll see it over time. And then Logan Evans, just some of the fill-in performances that those guys have had makes you not really miss Bryce Miller that much. I'm dying to see him, just because all of the conversation, during spring training and everything. But yeah, they certainly have done a good job with that. But I remember last year thinking, okay, can this last? This good health spree that we're on here, and kind of in the back of your mind, you knew that at some point it was going to turn south.
Sweeping the dial.
So yesterday, the Red Sox had their press conference. Sam Kennedy, their president, and Craig Breslow, they discussed the Devers trade. They made sure they said the same thing, that they were on the same page, and the internet realized, you know what, let's make a supercut of this one word that they kept saying over and over and over.
We couldn't find alignment.
You failed to reach alignment.
In terms of what was missing, it just was that alignment. We didn't get to the alignment that we needed. I thought we'd ultimately get to a place of complete alignment.
And like Sam said, ultimately we weren't able to achieve that alignment.
You can't find alignment with someone you've got a long-term commitment to. There's blame to go around on all sides when you can't get to alignment.
If I can just jump in, just to follow up.
Go ahead. Yep.
Failing to reach that alignment. Ultimately, as Sam has pointed out, this kind of lack of alignment. We failed to reach that alignment.
We thought we had alignment, and when we came to the conclusion that we did not have a full alignment, we moved on.
Holy mackerel.
Come on. They must have played the same clip over and over again, right?
No, I mean, it was a long press conference, and
wow.
That's why you have internet bloggers and fans that do things like this, and it's brilliant. And
awesome. They really got together before this thing. Here's the plan.
Yeah.
Here's how we're not going to call him a selfish jerk who got his feelings hurt and wouldn't play the positions we asked him to. We don't want to portray him as a bad seed or a cancer in the clubhouse type of thing. So here's what we're going to call it: alignment. It's sort of like when the Mariners didn't want to say they were rebuilding, they were reimagining.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
Nobody's buying that. I'm sorry. After a while.
Alignment.
Now I know how to complain about Lefko.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You say you guys weren't
in alignment.
Not having alignment.
Yeah, our alignment just feels askew. It's just that was golden.
Did you count them by
No, we should. We need like a counter.
Was that all of them?
14 when we did it earlier today.
Was that the whole press conference right there?
I think the entirety of the press conference they pulled every time they said it. I don't know how long it was. Hopefully it was very long.
Press conference was like an hour and a bit. They had a halftime for the press conference.
That's a united front right there.
It's too bad at halftime they didn't come up with another word.
Stick to our talking points. We're doing great.
Sweeping the dial.
Shohei Ohtani did make his return to the mound last night for the first time in a Dodgers uniform, so for the first time since 2023. It was only one inning, but Dave Roberts afterwards very excited about what they saw from him.
I thought it was great. Obviously, we gave up a run, but I thought the stuff was really good. Much better as far as the fastball velocity than I think anyone anticipated. Hit 100. I was thinking 95 to 97. But I think that just the competitor adrenaline came out in him. Yeah, they built an inning. I thought he made some really competitive pitches, but overall, just really positive day for us. And, today, I don't think it affected his offense. And like I said before the game, tomorrow we'll be telling to see how it feels as far as fatigue. But I thought overall, pretty exciting.
Yeah, today will be an interesting day just to see or hear reports of, how does he look? How does he feel? How does he recover, bounce back from that? I mean, it's a long time. 2023 is the last time he was on the mound throwing pitches in anger. So for him to hit triple digits, if you're a Dodger fan, you got to be excited.
Yeah, and it's so weird that this is the first time that he's pitched as a Dodger.
Yeah.
I just, for some reason, didn't process, but...
And somehow won an MVP.
I'll tell you what, man, you got a couple of leaders, one in the NL, the other in the AL. Him and Judge are two, just like Major League Baseball couldn't find two better people to represent that sport.
All right, coming up, Charlie Furbush is going to join us in studio for the next hour. We got a lot to cover with him. That is coming your way next with Wyman and Bob at Seattle Sports on 710.
Logan Gilbert dazzles in his return.
Swing and a miss. He waves at a splitter. Strike 3. Strikeout number 10 for Logan Gilbert.
But the Mariners come up short in the series opener against the Red Sox.
We were able to get some traffic, just not able to get them in tonight.
Tonight, the Mariners turn to Brian Wu, looking to even the series at 1 apiece. First pitch at 6:40. Wyman and Bob take you up to pregame at 5:30 on Seattle Sports. Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Need a new roof but not in the budget? A new roof doesn't have to break the bank. Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors here. Right now, State Roofing and Exteriors is offering 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's 2 years with no payments while getting the protection your home deserves. But this offer won't last forever. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to get on our summer schedule now. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with 0 risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Dave Wyman here for Harley Exteriors, a local company serving all of Western Washington for 23 years. Olympic Series windows are offered exclusively by Harley Exteriors, manufactured right here in Washington, specifically designed for our Pacific Northwest homes and climate. This is the window you want. It looks absolutely stunning, much better than a traditional vinyl window, and these windows last up to 60 years. They're going to lower your energy bills and provide year-round comfort. They come with a double lifetime, fully transferable warranty, meaning not only are you covered for glass breaking or damaged seals, it's going to help your resale and home value. Very affordable with options like 0 payments and 0 interest up to 12 months for qualified buyers. And this June, buy 3 windows and get 1 free, plus an additional $200 off your entire project. Think Harley Exteriors for windows, doors, and more in the Puget Sound. Call 8-333-HARLEY or go to harleyexteriors.com.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends over at Xfinity. You know, change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, we know that change is all around us. Songs are rewritten and remade. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists, well, they come and go. Even our taste in music, as we get older, can change a bit. But no matter how things change in 5 years, there's one thing that will stay the same. And that is the price of your internet. That's right. Xfinity is introducing a 5-year price guarantee. It means you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Are you surprised? Well, life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Now, restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August of 2024. Go check it all out right online at Xfinity.com/deals.
What is that sound? Ugh, that sounds like a plumbing sound. Luckily, there's a company that fixes all the plumbing sounds across Puget Sound. That's All Sound Plumbing. Puget Sound's plumbing experts. Have a sound? Visit allsoundplumbing.com.
Protect your home and auto with a bundle from Progressive so you can stop worrying about them and invent new things to worry about, like snakes in your bedroom. Sure, that sounds incredibly irrational, but now that we've mentioned it, you are a little worried. The odds of one snake, let alone snakes plural, are so slim. But you might want to check. Oh, you're not near your bedroom. Guess you'll just have to sit there and worry about it. So let Progressive protect your home and auto, because you've got enough to worry about. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey 12s, Steve Rabel here, voice of your Seattle Seahawks. The wait is over, and tickets are on sale now for our historic 50th season. This season is going to be legendary, with past, present, and future colliding at Lumen Field. Get your tickets today at Seahawks.com/tickets.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Mariners looking to get back in the win column tonight. Game 2 of their series against the Boston Red Sox. They're going to send Bryan Woo to the hill, which always bodes well for this team. He's going to face off against Walker Buehler. You can catch all the action of that one beginning at 5:30 with the pregame show. 6:40 first pitch right here, Seattle Sports on 710. Games going on right now. Marlins up on the Phillies 2-1. That one in the top of the 4th in Miami. In Detroit, Tigers trailing the Pirates. That one in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Top of the 2nd in Washington. Nationals out to a 1-0 lead over the Rockies. Game's about to get underway. Yankees hosting the Angels. Blue Jays and Diamondbacks in Toronto. It's the Reds playing host to the Twins. Braves and Mets in Atlanta. Rays and Orioles. White Sox, Cardinals. Rangers, Royals, Cubs, Brewers. And you've got the A's playing host to the hated Houston Astros.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is serviced by the Lee Johnson Auto family.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Wyman and Bob.
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton.
There is much to discuss when it comes to the Seattle Mariner team, so we bring in the experts for that. Our guy with us each and every week in studio. For those of you watching on the video stream, you know him, you love him. Former Mariner reliever Charlie Furbush is with us. How are you, man?
Outstanding. Another great day.
Out of the bullpen comes Charles.
Bringing in the lefty.
Save us. Yeah.
Save us from everything.
The crafty lefty. Right. How come lefties are always crafty?
I know.
Why do they say
gotta
that?
be.
You can't be a crafty righty?
Crafty righties just seemingly are an oxymoron. You know what I mean? They just hard to come across.
Well, let's get to this Mariner team, and the hardest thing for us has been identifying who they are. What is the identity of this team? They do one thing really well for a while, then they go complete opposite, and it's been up and down. They were in a terrible stretch going into that Cleveland series. We had talked about that last week. And then they pull off a sweep, which I don't know that anybody expected based on how they had been playing. So you're like, okay, all is right with the world. Mm-hmm. And then you fast forward to last night's game where they couldn't have looked more inept against a mediocre pitcher in Lucas Giolito, who shut them down. 15 strikeouts, 4 total hits, 3 of which came in a row. Single in the 3rd inning. Bases loaded, nobody out. JP comes up, strikes out. Julio comes up, strikes out. Cal comes up, strikes out. Top of your order can't even put the ball in play against Giolito.
And that's why Bob has his Everett Aqua Sox
That's
baseball
exactly
hat on.
right. That's exactly right.
That's what it leads to.
It's just beyond frustrating. But as a guy that's been there, seen it firsthand, how do you square that one?
Well, first off, Giolito got nasty in that inning and got the job done. 3 strikeouts, bases loaded. That's really, really hard to pull off. secondly, where the team's at, just from an identity standpoint, it's, I think, ever evolving in a way. It's like one of the things where when it started out really, really good, it's easy to be like, okay, this is the team, right? And then as the season kind of unfolds and you get challenged with new adversities and guys have to step up in situations where players are hurt or you're in a situation you've never been in and having to learn from that. I think we're kind of seeing it all kind of come together at this point. And now where the season is, it's like, okay, maybe we're seeing just a blend of what this identity is, and the spectrum is quite large. When they're playing well, they're awesome. When they're not playing well, they're not so good. Mm-hmm. But, it's obviously a pretty easy thing to say, but, I just keep going back to this team has been built on pitching, so giving some of these starters back and seeing what Kirby did, now 10 Ks from Gilbert last night, that's huge. First start back. So one of the things that I think the identity is going to be continued to build on is the pitching staff and the ability to go out and get the job done and carve out these lineups, every night. So if they continue to perform pitching wise, I think you're still going to find yourselves in a lot of close ball games and give yourself a chance to win.
Yeah, and it's too bad that they didn't pull that one out, because that was really a great night for Logan and a good sign going forward, right? I mean, you didn't get a win out of it, but yeah, I mean, I feel like that can be kind of like the secret weapon going into the second half, is getting the band back together, right? And getting all those guys healthy and going. And what did you see out of Logan? Did you see any hesitancy? The velo looked like it was good. I mean, anything from him to indicate that he's been on the IL?
No, I saw nothing. I saw a free and easy, let it rip type of pitcher that, typically when you have an injury and you're trying to come back, sometimes there is this, I like to call it like your internal self-awareness is being like, okay, if I push it too hard, I may end up hurting myself. So there's that little gauge inside that says, okay, I'm going to go 98%. Yeah. I didn't look like that. It looked like max effort, let it rip. Obviously we saw the radar gun, but to me, to be able to strike out 10 guys and put guys away like that just shows me that he's finishing his pitches, he's executing at the highest level. And, after those strikeouts happen, you can actually see his body language. He looks and feels strong just like he always did. So it seemingly he did what he needed to do to get his arm right and his body right so he can, stand the rigors of a starting pitcher. And, he did all the work he needed to do to get back, and we saw it last night. And what an incredible performance! Obviously, it was a tough loss with Mariners not scoring any runs, but that's certainly a huge spot for the rotation having Logan Gilbert back.
Yeah, that was beyond what I thought was a reasonable expectation. I was trying to go into this going, look, man, this is his first start since April 25th. It's amazing he was gone that long, but that's a while. So maybe it's going to take a start or two, and then he'll be Logan again. So I was trying to calm expectations, and he far exceeded it. He far exceeded what I thought he would do. He looked fantastic. The bullpen was great. They covered 4 innings last night, didn't give up a run, gave up 1 hit. I mean, as much as we talk about the inept nature of the offense for the Mariners last night, the Red Sox were held down. They had 4 hits as well. They scored 2 runs, but they struck out a whole bunch and limited. Just the hits they came up with were more punitive. But overall, it was a great night for the pitching. Logan was great. The bullpen was great, and that's not always been the case when it comes to the bullpen. So that was good to see as well. So there is frustrating as it was to watch offensively, there was that silver lining to it.
Yeah, kudos to the bullpen, and I'd say you could say the bullpen plan B, right? I mean, if you want to throw out your best guys in the bullpen, you didn't see him last night.
No, he saw Bizzardo, Pop, right. Thornton.
Right, exactly. And those are the guys that are vital to the success of the bullpen. You just can't rely on Aspire, Brash, Munoz combination every night. I mean, you'd love to, and I think come playoffs time, absolutely, run them out there as many times as you can. But games like this are hugely important when guys are down or a situation just doesn't call for a Munoz, even though he's been down for a couple days. It says, okay, we need other guys to step up, and you saw it collectively. And it just, you push a couple runs across the board, and this game feels completely different, right? It's like, so I think the bullpen has really continued to be a bright spot when they need them.
Yeah, and why is that? Because every once in a while you're like, who the hell is Zach Pop? I mean, out of nowhere, and he comes in, goes 1 1/3. I mean, he gave up 1 hit. It just seems like they do such a great job. Who do you think, is there any one person, coach, whatever, that is responsible for the bullpen? Just seems to always find a way to work it out. Is anybody?
That's a good question. I don't know if there's one person. Probably a plethora of people in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Whatever their system is, their formula.
Yeah, I think you could point to the bullpen coach and the pitching coach, but I think you can also point to a guy like Munoz in the back of the bullpen, kind of anchoring it all down. And it's like, okay, well, we take care of that part, and then everyone kind of fills their role as the dominoes fall. And a lot of times you end up being like, okay, well, if you're in the bullpen and you're not the closer, then you're basically pitching in every inning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like very few. Okay, maybe we count out Brash as like, all right, you're the 8th inning guy, but everyone else is up for grabs. Like, you got to be ready no matter what. But to be able to have those two guys, especially Munoz, for how historically good he's been this year, it really kind of sets the tone for everyone else of saying, okay, you may not be as good as Munoz, but you got to be able to hold your weight and get the job done in high leverage situations. So a combination of coaches and some current players, I think, is a good reason why.
Let's go back, because I think we talked on Friday, and Emerson Hancock hadn't pitched yet, and he put up his best start of his career. 7 innings, no runs.
It's because he came on with you guys.
That's usually what we chalk it up to.
Charlie knows.
But I mean, that was, we came out of that and talking about it, going, that made me feel a lot better about Bryce Miller and how long it may take him to come back. And not that I expect Emerson Hancock to be that guy every start, but you look at his game log, he's had 2 games where he blew up this year. The first one, obviously, and then one against, I think it was the Yankees. And in those 2 games, he went a combined 5 1/3 and gave up 13 runs. You look at the other 10 starts, he's given up 18 runs. I mean, he's been phenomenal, and he's always given this team a chance to win. But he took that extra step in this last start. What'd you see from him in this start?
Just an ever-evolving starting pitcher.
And he
right?
did it on 85 pitches, by the way.
Exactly.
7 innings.
Yeah, I mean, clearly I think from, we've talked about it a few times, like the difference in his fastball this year and the uptick in velocity. No matter who you are, if you're going to throw harder the next season, you're most likely going to find a little bit more success because you can get away with more things in the zone when you're throwing harder. But the ability to throw strikes consistently and then be in those pivotal counts, those 1-1, those 2-1, those 3-1 counts where you're down and you need to throw a strike, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing some execution on Hancock's part where it is, the count can go one or two ways, and it's like, okay, if it's going to be 2-1, I got to throw a ball here, then it's, you really have to be precise on that 3-1 count, and if you're not, then you're either going to walk him or throw one, over the middle, and it's going to get hit. And he seemingly has figured out how to throw these pitches his whole repertoire in ways that allows him to be more successful in and around the zone, and doing it in high leverage accounts where it's crucial to get guys out or crucial to throw a strike. So I think he's learned so much from those like crappy starts, those terrible starts where you go, man, I wasn't, or maybe it's a combination of things. Oh, I wasn't feeling good, I didn't have it, or I can't land the slider today. It doesn't work, right? I've landed 1 out of 10. And you kind of have to figure out ways to adjust on the fly and then take those experiences and go, okay, that happened 2-3 weeks ago, a month ago. When I feel that or run into a situation again, I know I can't allow it to happen. So you end up having situations where you end up learning so fast because something happened weeks ago and as a starting pitcher, you're going to go 5 innings. So you're going to kind of see a gambit of experiences and at-bats and situations, and you go, okay, well, is there anything that happened in the past that I can rely on? And that's what I think I'm seeing a lot out of Hancock is he's continuing to learn from his performances and continuing to improve on him. So that's just a really good sign of a strong, self-aware starting pitcher just continuing to get better.
Yeah, 3 starts in the month of June, a 1.53 ERA.
Big E.
You know who came in here and said he's going to be fine? Charles Furbush.
You remember that?
I do remember that.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I mean, because everybody was freaking out over Emerson
Freaking
Hancock.
out, man.
Yeah.
Well, when you go 2/3 and you give up 6 runs, it's it's not the.
But Charlie was like, "Hey, there's some things to like here," and
Yeah.
sure enough. So, one other question I was going to ask you about, like, we were just talking about Seawald and how he used to say, "I got 2 pitches. That's it." Like, how, is it variations off of those same pitches? I mean, and how important is it to know, like, I don't know, Seawald just knew who he was. And it just seems like, especially in the bullpen, it's like, if you know who you are, then you're going to have much more success. Kind of walk us through what exactly does that mean?
Well, life lessons from Wyman here. I think that's that's what it is. If you know who you are, you're going to have success, right?
Yeah.
But it's the way of kind of understanding who you are as a pitcher and as an athlete. I think there's, who you are as a person and how you learn and take information and, how you are in the locker room as a teammate. But as a player, what you're trying to learn is, how can you take the skills that you have, the skills that ultimately got you where you are today? Like when you're in the big leagues, you're going, okay, I could sit here and I can, from my experience when I'm playing, didn't have a great changeup. It just wasn't that great. I was better at spinning the ball, and I could have, beat my head against the wall and said, hey, I need to have a good changeup. I'm just going to work on changeup all day. And you end up being in situations, and at the end of the day, it's not your best pitch, but then you're in a game, and they call that pitch, and then it backfires, and you go, man, I threw my 3rd best pitch to this guy. No wonder I got beat, right? It's like you kind of look at it that way and say, all right, how do I figure these things out? And you bring up the Seawald example. It's like, I got 2 pitches. This is all I got. Then I'm going to go out and this is it, right? So kind of what I felt similarly is like I was a generally fastball slider guy, mixed in a curveball and a changeup. They weren't, I could probably get away with the curveball more than the changeup. But knowing that when it was my time to shine and the ball's in my hand and I have to get the job done, I am solely going to rely on my strengths. Like it's really hard to be as a bullpen guy, 2nd and 3rd, one out, 2 outs, 8th inning, and you're in there to get the job done, and you decide to throw a pitch that in theory, you're least confident in, right? And being able to learn these things early on in your career, so you don't have to try and experiment at the highest level, gives you a better chance at saying, hey, these are my strengths. This is what I get. This is what I got. Let's see what you got. And I think that's where, as a pitcher, you just have to throw the whole scouting report and throw everything out the window. And it's like, this is now a competition. I have to beat you, and I can't do anything but rely on my strengths in a lot of ways. And I think that's what you end up you seeing a lot of pitchers do. Is like, okay, I'm down in the count. I'm going to throw my slider. Like that's what's going to happen. Or so you kind of learn through trial and error, but who you are as an athlete kind of does evolve. But from a pitching standpoint, it really doesn't. It just has to do with execution and consistency.
Does you've been a starter, you've been a reliever, so you've got both mentalities.
I remember those days.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm curious, in either of those roles, does your mentality change when you know you've got a Jekyll and Hyde offense, knowing I might get 5 runs, I might get 1 or none? I mean, do you attack any differently? Do you take fewer chances, more chances, or is your game plan, your mental approach unaffected by what your offense is or is not?
Yeah, more often than not, your mental approach is going to be unaffected. I think that it only becomes a little bit more apparent when it happens over the course of multiple games or a season. I could, point to Felix Hernandez, right, and say, hey, dude, you were an absolute beast out there every 5th day, and you didn't get much run support. And to be able to withstand that and still go out and give great performances, it's pretty impressive. Because you can easily say, oh, I did pretty good today. I gave up 1 or 2 runs. We lost, right? And kind of take the selfish route. But, like Felix, he always wanted the team to win. And, always was just like, I should have pitched better. Right? I gave up 1 run, 7 innings, 10 Ks. It was my fault.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He really biffed it.
Really, it's like one of those kind of crazy situations that, you end up being in. And, I always look at Felix when I played as like, he definitely had some tough offenses, in terms of what he was dealing with, and to be able to put up the numbers he did, it really kind of taught me, like, okay, control what you can, man. Like, because you can't, you have no control over the offense, right?
Right.
So as a pitcher, it's like, all right, I have one job, and this is to throw strikes and throw high-quality, high-level strikes at all times, and never try to be inconsistent. You're going to have clunkers, but let the chips where it fall where they may, and try and be the best teammate to everyone else, so you can bring out the best version of themselves. So a lot of times in the dugout, or on road trips, you're trying to connect with everyone, and if someone's struggling, maybe I can say something or make them feel better, or not think about what's going on. And it's like, how do we make this happen more frequently when you play so many games and everyone's getting pulled in different directions on and off the field? And when we're all together, how do we stir this pot together to have the goal be it's playoffs or bust?
I remember Felix, whenever we had him on, like, out at Edgar's, he would always, like, stay through the break and talk to us. And I remember asking him, like, my co-hosts were asking him, can you show me the grip on this and that, and how do you throw this? He's always just a saint, man, just a gem. Was he that way as a teammate?
Yeah, he was amazing. And a little fun fact: so Felix is 3 days older than me, like 3 days, and I'm just like, when I met him, I'm like, man, you as an athlete, you make it to the big leagues, you think you're halfway decent at sports, right? Yeah. And then I meet Felix, I'm like, you 3 days older than me, and your resume is a million times better than mine. Oh my gosh. Like, so it kind of put things into perspective.
He humbled you.
Yeah, for sure. Like, and appreciated him even more, because anytime you're coming up as a 19-year-old in the big leagues, it is, talk about not knowing who you are. Yeah. You remember who you were as a 19-year-old? I certainly didn't.
I was an idiot.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I was, definitely not aware of what was going on. And as a 19-year-old, to be able to have to withstand that, and then couple that with a tough offense, and you're up against it, and the year over year of maybe an underperforming team, I just always look at him and I say, man, if he had a even halfway decent offense, I think he would have been one of the guys that put the Mariners like into another level, because no one wanted to face him. Like, he had his own court. It was crazy, right? Like, people's cheering for him. Like, talk about a competitive advantage. It's like, okay, anytime Felix gets 2 strikes, the crowd's going to yell against you.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I had that.
Yeah.
I mean, the games that I pitched, right? When the games that I came in for him,
Charlie
for sure.
Court?
Yeah, exactly, right? I don't know if Charlie Court, maybe Furbush Court, or
yeah.
That sounds a little more appropriate.
We'll figure out during the break. We'll figure out
text us.
Well, somebody was texting in asking if you've got any nicknames.
Is that a real question? Come on.
Somebody,
do I have any nicknames?
Well, or do you have one that you gravitate?
Come on,
that you like better than others?
Man. So at this point, I
Any
actually
you can say on the air.
I only appreciate new nicknames, because I've heard so many. I've heard them all. So if you have one, send it in. I'd love to give you credit if it is new or not. But I
have to be able to read it on the air.
One of my favorites actually back in the day, which I don't know where it came from, was Chuckleberries.
Chuckleberries.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, because
my name is Charles Chuck.
Yeah.
I don't know where the berries come from, but
yeah, berries.
See,
I appreciate it because it was a new one. I hadn't heard it before.
Yeah. But managers always put the E sound on everything. So what would they call you? Furby? Hey, Furby had a great game.
That's right.
Was that a thing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we want to rewind back to the mid-'90s when the Furby got invented and came out, a little toy. Wouldn't stop talking.
Was that what it
Oh, my God. We got him as a family. It was the most annoying thing in the world. In the middle of the night, I'd wake up. It wouldn't stop. I mean, I think my older brother launched it off the wall and shattered into 10 pieces. Yeah. Good luck. If you look up the Furby if you don't remember.
So was that where they call you that, though?
Oh, yeah.
They just
Furby.
Automatically put the E on everybody's.
Yeah,
Vargy.
Bushwhacker.
Bushwhacker.
The list keeps going, so we can play it. We can keep going. I mean, you let me know.
Text them in.
There's your Furby.
Yeah, see,
There
you remember those things?
Yeah,
I remember the name now that we're saying it. Yeah. Text in your suggestions for Charlie's nickname, 866-979-3776. Meanwhile, we'll talk more about the mystery of this offensive inconsistency with the Mariners. That is coming up next. It's Wyman and Bob. Charlie Furbush in studio with us. Seattle Sports on 710.
Logan Gilbert dazzles in his return.
Swing and a miss. He waves at a splitter. Strike 3. Strikeout number 10 for Logan Gilbert.
But the Mariners come up short in the series opener against the Red Sox.
We were able to get some traffic, just not able to get him in tonight.
Tonight, the Mariners turn to Bryan Woo, looking to even the series at 1 apiece. First pitch at 6:40. Wyman and Bob take you up to pregame at 5:30 on Seattle Sports. Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Look at the weather outside. It is sunny. This is perfect riding weather for my fellow motorcycle riders out there. It's perfect time of year. I look forward to it each and every year, and you do your best to be safe. But as some of my more experienced riding friends tell me, it's not a matter of if, but when you get in a crash. And hopefully it's not a serious one. You don't get injured. But if that is the case, if you are injured in a motorcycle crash, do not settle for firms that say they're motorcycle lawyers. Trust the ones who actually live it. Law Tigers has been part of the riding community for nearly 25 years nationwide. They're there 24/7, 365 days a year. Why? Because riders deserve real support when they need it. Law Tigers is the resource riders can turn to when they're in need. Tigers is out at all the events, all supporting all clubs, all shops. You see their logos, their tents, their vans everywhere. Law Tigers are always by your side, and your case evaluation, as always, completely free. They don't get paid until you get paid. You never ride alone when you're with the Law Tigers, and if you're looking to get your bike repaired or replaced, your gear repaired or replaced, they have got you covered. The Law Tigers are Washington's motorcycle lawyers, so make sure if you are involved in an accident, they are your first call. Jimmy Cook, 539 Broadway, Unit 104, Tacoma, Washington, 98402.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Riverside Roofing has earned GAF Master Elite President's Club certification, which puts them in the 99.9th percentile of all roofers nationally. They're right here out of Marysville. You can find them at riversideroofingllc.com, and they are the roofing company you can trust.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that, and third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get 0% financing for 72 months on Cat compact construction equipment at NC Machinery. Built for performance, durability, and comfort. Buy now and take advantage of 0% financing for 72 months at NC Machinery.
The home of the Mariners.
It is gone! Cal Raleigh, 2-run home run!
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
How can you free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business. Smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your team and focus on your future. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs. You sound very calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees. Ooma. Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends over at Xfinity. You know, change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, we know that change is all around us. Songs are rewritten and remade. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists, well, they come and go. Even our taste in music, as we get older, can change a bit. But no matter how things change in 5 years, there's one thing that will stay the same. And that is the price of your internet. That's right. Xfinity is introducing a 5-year price guarantee. It means you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Are you surprised? Well, life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Now, restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August of 2024. Go check it all out right online at Xfinity.com/deals.
This hour is serviced by the Lee Johnson Auto family.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Wyman and Bob.
Weekdays 2 to 7
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Text line is there for you at 866-979-3776. Bunch of suggestions for a nickname for Charlie. Furbinator, the Furminator. So the two different ones there.
I'm surprised that most of them you can actually read on the air.
One just says
Good point.
Trapper.
Bonus. Say again?
Trapper. One says better than Dave.
That's the only funny one. That's the only funny one. All the rest of them are just,
Yeah. Somebody wants to call you Lord Furbush. Furbush Lawn. How is that your nickname? Hey, Furbush Lawn.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
I don't know, but
sounds like a cemetery.
It kind of does, doesn't it?
It's my side biz.
Yeah, there you go. Send them in, 866-979-3776. Meanwhile, we were talking about the offense to open the show for good reason. It was absent last night. 15 strikeouts, 4 hits, 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position, 7 left on base. Jerry DiPoto, who was on MLB Network yesterday, was asked to sum up who the Mariners are as a team this season, something we've been unable to do.
You know, we've had really two extreme portions of our season. For about 6 weeks, we were really scoring runs like we've not before, at least in my time with the Mariners. And we were up and down 1 through 9 in the lineup, really productive. But historically, we rely on our pitching, and that's who we are. I think that's our personality. Our identity is pick up the ground balls, be accurate with our throws, don't make mistakes that beat you, and your pitching drowns your opponent. And you know, tonight starts that over with Logan back in the mix, and hopefully we are on track to start doing the things that we do. You know, the atypical part of our season so far has been that we've not been driven by our pitching. So, you know, I think as we get into this stretch between, you know, today and the trade deadline, it's establishing what we do as a pitching staff, being a little more Mariner-like in what we're doing there. And I think our offense has really improved.
I like the drowning part of it. I picture Charlie down, like grabbing somebody's leg, just trying to drag him down and drown your opponent. That was a good image. I like that from Jerry. It's always pretty much always been that way. That's the way he builds his team, obviously, and they've had
built on pitching and
fair amount of success.
But you need the offense to kick in.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just how it goes. And it was fun at the beginning of the year because it was so unexpected.
Right.
You know, and you had all the injuries so it was nice that the hitting, the offense stepped up when the pitching was down. But now it looks like the pitching is going to take over again. And you had great pitching last night from the bullpen and your starter. you got to back them up when they give you a gem out there. You have to.
Yeah, it comes down to that bases loaded, no outs, right? I mean, that's just
you got to put a ball in play.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at it, it's unacceptable. That's the way I look at it. It's an unacceptable moment.
100%.
That exactly. You nailed it. You just have to put it in play. Like, it's not that bad if you put it in play or you pop out double play. It just doesn't feel as bad. But when you just don't even give yourself a chance and you swing and miss.
What do you look at that as all three guys are anxious? They're chasing. They're saw Cal way out in front of a pitch that was down in the dirt. You see Julio getting beat by the fastball. I mean, it just how do you?
There's definitely some chasing, right?
Yeah.
I think there's definitely some chasing, but you couple that with the offense knowing how important run scoring is. So I can imagine as a hitter, you're really, you're just so in tune with how important runs are for this team to win. I mean, obviously with any team to win, right? But that when the opportunity you have with runners on scoring position to bring them in, and you don't bring them in, it becomes super deflating because all you want as a player is to get the job done, move the players over, score some runs. And when that doesn't happen, it just really is really unfortunate, and it can go one of two ways. And it's like, okay, is this going to be kind of the rest of the game? Is this how it's going to go? And I think that's kind of how it went after that inning. Is like it just couldn't really gather any momentum, and that's how it goes some games where you just realize that was our chance to win the game and break it open. That was the only chance we had, and we didn't even do anything. We couldn't even get a sac fly or even hit into a double play and score a run.
Fielder's choice, yeah.
Exactly. So just one of the things that is tough to watch. But as these things go, I mean, you're going to, you look at the offense from where it was to where it is now, it's just going to be kind of a roller coaster ride, but it's going to be hugely important for guys to step up when they know they have a chance to drive in a run. It's like, and to tighten up your approach and say, okay, the only job now is to put it in play. Like, it's not about hitting homers or driving in the gap or sitting on a pitch. It's like anything I need to do to get the ball in play, to get this run across is the most important thing at this moment. And I just didn't see it. I saw some chasing. I saw some aggressiveness. And, maybe you got beat by a guy that was nasty in those three at-bats for sure. You can tip your cap one way, shape, or form, but I wouldn't say that all of the pitches that he threw were swing and miss. So you had a chance to put it in play. You fouled it off. You missed it. Bad call, whatever you want to do, or whatever you want to draw it up. It's just one of the situations that you can always look back and say, this can never happen again. Like, this can't happen again if we're going to win. It's just like unacceptable. I don't know who needs to say it. And I know that the players know it, but just making sure that it's reiterated that no matter where or when we are in this situation again, we have to get it done. We have to get it done. And and getting it done is just getting one run. Like, that's all we're asking for.
Just something.
That's it.
Yeah.
Come away with something.
Oh, my God. Hey, yesterday on the broadcast, I think Goldie was talking about, was that a tip your cap home run that Logan threw? I mean, it wasn't a terrible pitch. I mean, it was touching the zone, top of the zone, but was that, I mean, it's not like it was an awful pitch or anything like that. Is that just one of those where you're like, all right,
yeah,
tip of the cap?
Yeah, you got me. I mean, it's the nature of pitching is that you throw good pitches that don't get hit, and then you throw bad pitches that get hit. And, like, it's just really, the spectrum in between all that is just really hard to, take in. You go, okay, I may have executed and did everything I wanted and threw exactly where I wanted, and it still backfired. So that's when you go, well, I got to tip my cap here because that's just how it goes, right? I can't be mad that I did what I wanted to do and I executed, and then, he beat me. I mean, that's literally how it goes. And, I remember the first time I faced Robinson Cano in New York in Yankee Stadium, and totally threw a great pitch that I thought was going to beat him, and he hit a double. And I was like, oh, okay, I just really thought I had a really good pitch there. And now I'm looking at him on second like, how did you do that? You're amazing.
These guys are good.
These guys are really good. So, yeah, it's a crazy thing.
Hey, real quick before we hit the break, as a pitcher in that situation, your bases are packed, nobody's out. what's your approach? You're facing the top of the lineup, so you can't. I could understand the mentality of, well, I can't get him to try to chase. I can't afford a walk. I'm going to walk in a run. There's still going to be no outs and bases loaded, so you got to live around the strike zone. How aggressive are you in that situation? I guess it depends on obviously who you're facing, but in that situation, top 3 in the order, nobody out.
I mean, you are maxing out your aggression at this point. Like, no doubt about it. It's like, I have to get it done. And the way I always approached it, you know, my big league debut was second and third, 1 out, and then I walked the first guy, bases loaded, 1 out. First time in the big leagues. Okay, kid, here you go get him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just goes back to, at least for me and my mentality of pitching, is that I was always trying to get you to swing and miss.
Right.
So, you know, I always tried, you know, look at my numbers. I struck out more guys than inning pitch, so I was always trying to strike you out and swing and make you swing and miss. And you kind of have to dig deep in those situations and realize that you can't miss over the middle. Like, you can throw strikes, but you cannot miss over the middle because these guys are going to be very aggressive. And, you know, for me, it's like if I took that approach and I got a double play, great. You know, if I took that approach and I gave up a double, whatever. At least I know that that's where I have to be to try and bring out the best in myself in the situation that calls for, you know, you got to step up. Like, okay, and, you know, this can go really south really quick here.
Yeah.
So, and the best approach you can take is, you know, it's 1 at bat, you know, almost honestly 1 pitch at a time. You hear it all the time, but like, this is just 1 at bat. Like, don't worry about the next guy. Don't worry about the next guy. Like, I just have to get this guy out, and you just go all in on getting this guy out. And if you execute, great, you got the next one. Keep going until the inning's over, and try and get it done. It's just a really hard thing to do. You can take all that stuff. That sounds all great, but you still may not execute or leave one just over the plate enough for it to get hit. And then that's how it goes. So I think, you know, like bringing up the Mariners again, like in that situation, it's like, okay, figure out which pitch you can put in play and just don't swing it at a ball that you can't like do any damage with. And I saw a couple of pitches. It was like, okay, you're getting aggressive, or it looks like you're pre-committing to the swing before the pitch comes. And you may be sitting on a pitch, and it just doesn't work out that way. So then you look like a fool up there, and you're like, yeah, you know, I got beat, you know, like, and I tried an approach, and that'll happen with hitting and in pitching. You kind of figure out ways and tendencies.
It's a chess match, yeah.
Guys that, okay, I saw something there. He's looking in, or he's looking away. I can go in. Like, there's certain scenarios in swings that you see based on what he's like providing to you on the mound. It's like, okay, now I can change my approach here based on what I just saw, based on how his bat's moving. I actually feel like he's late on the fastball. I can actually pump high heaters and let's go. Or no, I'm just going to spray breaking balls or changeups down and away. So you just kind of have to evolve as the at-bat goes and what the hitter gives you. And that goes to the pitcher having to be self-awareness about what you can do as a pitcher, but then also realizing what this guy's trying to do against you.
He was traded in the middle of a season, so we'll get Charlie's perspective up next on how these moves affect a clubhouse. That's coming up next with Wyman and Bob. It is Seattle Sports on 710.
Logan Gilbert dazzles in his return.
Swing and a miss. He waves at a splitter. Strike 3. Strikeout number 10 for Logan Gilbert.
But the Mariners come up short in the series opener against the Red Sox.
We were able to get some traffic, just not able to get him in tonight.
Tonight, the Mariners turn to Bryan Woo, looking to even the series at 1 apiece. First pitch at 6:40. Wyman and Bob take you up to pregame at 5:30 on Seattle Sports. Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Hey, are you in pain, or have you been considering surgery or even joint replacement? It's Dave Wyman, and before you take that drastic step, I recommend you join Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for a free live stem cell webinar tonight at 6 o'clock. The webinar will educate you on how stem cell therapy can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate cartilage in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints. Learn all about this amazing procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how Dr. Wagner determines if you're a good candidate or not. He's performed over 20,000 procedures, so he should know, and he's had tremendous success using stem cell therapy to repair shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. So if you're in pain, join Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at his live stem cell webinar tonight at 6 o'clock. It's free, so register now at drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
Eric Johnson here. I spent the past 30 years working to help make our community better informed, better protected when it comes to consumer issues, and better equipped to take on whatever life throws at us. That's why I love the free Washington Accident book series from Davis Law Group. These books keep us better informed about the law, better able to protect ourselves on and off the road, and better off when all is said and done after an accident. Chris Davis didn't have to write these books. He did it because he saw a need. People who were in accidents or other legal situations didn't know what to do, what pictures to take, documents to request. Only a tiny fraction of the people who get these free books will ever become clients of Davis Law Group, but that's not the point. Chris wrote them because it was the right thing to do. The free Washington Accident book series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the road might throw at them. Get yours at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, HIMS can help. Through HIMS.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs, with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Headed to the ballpark? Skip the traffic jams, parking fees, and the stress of driving. Make riding transit part of your game day ritual. Roll in with your crew, talk stats, and meet fans. No traffic, no stress. Community Transit riders enjoy seamless connections to light rail and ferries to get to Seattle and beyond. And youth 18 and under ride the bus for free. All in for the win. Plan your trip with Community Transit at ctgo.org/homerun.
The home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Cal swinging a drive, deep to right field.
Every pitch of every Mariners game is on the Seattle Sports app.
Experience the thrill of a lifetime this summer with a share of $320,000 in prizes. We're making waves every Saturday in June from 3 to 10 p.m. with double winners every hour. Come one, come all to the Coastal Carnival of Cash. Claim one free daily entry. Don't forget, your Reef Rewards card can save you up to 25 cents per gallon at Lummi Bay Market next to Silver Reef. Silver Reef Casino Resort, located off I-5 exit 260.
When it comes to the security of your business, doubts can creep in about who you're trusting to protect it. Are they a reliable service? How will I know if something happens? Are they keeping everyone safe? At Bay Alarm, we got you. For nearly 80 years, we've been putting our customers' minds at ease with our advanced technology and personalized support. Feeling insecure about your current security service? Visit bayalarm.com today to talk to a local security expert.
Dave Wyman here for Harley Exteriors, a local company serving all of Western Washington for 23 years. Olympic Series windows are offered exclusively by Harley Exteriors, manufactured right here in Washington, specifically designed for our Pacific Northwest homes and climate. This is the window you want. It looks absolutely stunning, much better than a traditional vinyl window, and these windows last up to 60 years. They're going to lower your energy bills and provide year-round comfort. They come with a double lifetime, fully transferable warranty, meaning not only are you covered for glass breaking or damaged seals, it's going to help your resale and home value. Very affordable with options like 0 payments and 0 interest up to 12 months for qualified buyers. And this June, buy 3 windows and get 1 free, plus an additional $200 off your entire project. Think Harley Exteriors for windows, doors, and more in the Puget Sound. Call 8-333-HARLEY or go to harleyexteriors.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Wyman and Bob.
Weekdays, 2 to 7.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Just talking to Charlie Furbush during the break, talking pitching strategy with some of these guys and how they might tip their hand a bit even when they don't offer at a pitch.
There's Mike Trout going opposite field there. With that, we were talking about how you'd pitch him, and you said, I pitched him well, except for the one time he just laced a missile off your shin or your
kneecap.
knee. Your kneecap.
Yeah, in Anaheim opening day. So
I think he did that on purpose.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's that good.
Yeah.
He was aiming for the
he
kneecap.
said, I could hit a home run or a double here, but I'm going to take this guy's kneecap.
Yeah, he's 0 for 7 or 8 off me right now. You know, I'm going to show him. I'm going to knock him out of the game. Thanks,
Hey,
Mike.
So we're inching toward that trade deadline, and moves have been made. Obviously, the Devers trade was the big one that surprised a lot of people. Were you ever in a clubhouse where a prominent member of the team was shipped? I know you got traded. This is not a knock on you, but maybe a guy that was looked at as a cornerstone of this team, or somebody that was a bopper in the lineup, and boom, they're gone, and everybody's going, wait, what just happened here?
Yeah, it's that, you know, whether it's a trade or, you know, a guy got cut, right? I mean, there's a couple ways when you subtract a player from the team. It can really, you know, obviously you're always hopeful and saying, oh, this is going to work out. We're getting a player that is going to help our roster. But I think when you go through a trade and somebody that's prominent in the clubhouse gets traded, it becomes very heart-wrenching because you realize, especially like, you know, with a guy that, you know, is that, I call it pseudo captain in behind the scenes, you know, someone that can take care of the young guys and make sure they're doing the right things and treating their bodies the right way, you know, because he's been there. And then to be able to have to trade that guy or remove him from that environment and something that started in spring training up until the deadline, you just feel like everything's all in with this team and you're all in, right? And then boom, trade deadline hits, one of your boys gets traded, and it can be really hard sometimes to bounce back from it because of what this player potentially provided beyond the field.
Right.
I think that's the thing that is really hard to quantify, and I don't think that the teams necessarily – some teams, I think, care about it, but some teams are like, that's not that important to us in terms of structuring a roster. I think, you know, maybe more back in the day. I'm not sure how it was for you, Dave, if there were older guys that stuck around that helped younger guys, and we were going to keep him around because he provided more from a mentorship standpoint than a playing standpoint, and stuff that allow these young, you know, men to turn into, you know, fully grown men.
Yeah.
And it goes a long way. So I just know how terrible it can be because you feel like you lose, honestly, a leader in the clubhouse that is providing so much more. I'm trying to think of the word, like so much more, I don't know, enthusiasm or I don't know, all in feeling like this is okay. We're here together. And it was when you're a young guy, and I'm sure you felt the same way, David. You're not going to come up and be the captain. You're not going to come up and be, hey,
No.
I just got drafted. I'm going to be the captain of the team.
Yeah,
you know, like
follow me.
Yeah, like no, I'm going to actually not speak until spoken to,
That's
and
exactly right.
we'll
Seen and not heard.
Yeah, we'll just keep showing up and working hard, and then, you know, over time you end up feeling like you earned a place of leadership, and how you can help the team. But yeah, it's so tough getting traded, and I think sometimes teams do maybe not have the best pulse on the clubhouse, and when you remove a guy, how much more impactful it can have to everyone else. It's just tough.
Yeah, Dave Brown, I remember he had like 63 career interceptions. He was like in his 10th or 12th year, and they traded him to Green Bay, and I just remember going, man, this is, I mean, he was like the heart of the team. It felt like,
Right.
who was was it Kendall Graveman
Mm-hmm.
that everybody loved? And remember there was like kind of an uprising, I think, when that happened?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
That was Abraham Toro.
Yeah, we got Toro.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Clubhouse was it was poorly received.
Yeah.
I think part of it was the word was Jerry didn't come down and speak to anybody, didn't say anything about it. Just, he's not our teammate anymore. He's over on the other side because they were playing the
That's
Astros.
right. They were playing the Astros. Yeah.
So I can tell you a quick mutiny forming after a player was released. Actually, released on his birthday, nonetheless, too. Right? Like, oh man, you're gonna get rid of him on his birthday, and he wasn't even playing that bad. But after, you know, you want to know his name? Like,
we sure do.
John Buck is his name. He was a catcher. With us. Yes.
Yes.
You know, played in the big leagues, you know, 10 plus years, you know, guy that's been around. And he came into the squad as the backup guy, but boy, did he bring some energy and some sort of funk inside that clubhouse and let players be themselves and would run like the microphone on the bus and all the trips and the plane and would get guys singing. And it was just, we're talking about a camaraderie guy at its like highest form. And he just brought that every day. And it just felt like, okay, this is like, you can't get rid of this guy. Like I know he's not playing every day and he's not like, doesn't have the greatest numbers, but what he provides inside the clubhouse is incredible. And then sure enough, after the game, he gets released actually, or designated for assignment. And everyone, I think weeks prior, actually, we had a team meeting that was like, all right, pretty intense with the coaches and players. Like, this is our guy. This is our team. This is our team. Like, and it was just like, all right, here we go. Kind of one of those rah-rah moments after a game. We probably lost by 10 or something. And of course the coach has to come out and yell at us, right? Or motivate us. I mean, and then, this happens and everyone's in shock and we all kind of meet in the dining area and we're just like, this isn't right. Like this can't be true. Like we can't allow this to happen. And probably, I don't know, 12, 13 of us like rallied, went into the manager's office. McClendon was the manager at the time. And just absolutely like, I was kind of silent, but I was there, but there were players just absolutely ripping into the move, ripping into everything kind of Lloyd had said weeks prior. There was just like, get the GM down here now, get him down. Like it was really intense.
Is that Zarinsik?
Yeah. And then surely enough, now GM Chris Young with the Rangers, he was in that room with us. And, I think he's Princeton grad, super well-spoken, really, really, and obviously he's 6'10", he's huge, so he carries a presence. He stood up, like didn't say anything. He stood up and like went on this 5-minute rant, felt like I wanted to jump on his back. It was like the greatest thing I'd ever heard, and then it literally left Lloyd speechless. He couldn't even respond.
Wow.
It was like it was unbelievable. So at this point, we leave the office thinking, we did it. Yeah. He's gonna get unreleased, or he's gonna come back. You know what I mean? Yeah. And no, it didn't happen.
It didn't. No, he was still released.
So we were kind of really pissed about it. Like it was a big deal. And,
I remember that.
And I think it was in I think it's either 2013 or 14, and in 14 we missed the playoffs by 1 year, or 1 game, and that just like you think like, oh, does that guy provide one more win beyond the stat sheet inside that clubhouse by bringing guys out and making sure they show up and work hard, and like he did a bunch of things so well that just don't show up on the stat sheet.
Yeah. Good stuff. Love those stories.
Yeah,
love that stuff. Charlie, we appreciate you, man. We'll do it again next week.
Looking forward to it.
Charlie Furbush in studio with us each and every week. You don't want to miss that. You don't want to miss El Hombre. We'll get his thoughts on everything happening in the world of sports, and we'll find out what we learned. That's all coming your way next with Wyman and Bob. It's Seattle Sports on 710.
Logan Gilbert dazzles in his return.
Swing and a miss. He waves at a splitter. Strike 3. Strikeout number 10 for Logan Gilbert.
But the Mariners come up short in the series opener against the Red Sox.
We were able to get some traffic, just not able to get him in tonight.
Tonight, the Mariners turn to Brian Wu, looking to even the series at 1 apiece. First pitch at 6:40. Wyman and Bob take you up to pregame at 5:30 on Seattle Sports. Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and, of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies to same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Right now, get a $15 gift card after rebate with the purchase of select AC Pro refrigerant products at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Go from daydreamer to industry leader with Amazon Business. From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at AmazonBusiness.com.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Mariners looking to turn things around tonight in Game 2 of their series against the Red Sox. They send Bryan Woo to the hill. He faces off against Walker Buehler going for the Red Sox. You can catch all of the action beginning at 5:30 with the pregame show. 6:40 first pitch right here. Seattle Sports on 710. Game's going on right now. Marlins out to a 4-3 lead over the Phillies in Miami. That game in the bottom of the 6th. In Detroit, bottom of the 5th, Tigers and Pirates knotted up at 3 apiece. Bottom of the 5th in Washington, Rockies out to a 3-1 lead over the Nationals. Headed to the top of the 4th in New York, the Yankees trailing the Angels 3-0. Top of the 4th in Toronto, Blue Jays up 2-1 on the Diamondbacks. It's 1-0 Twins out in front of the Reds in Cincinnati in the bottom of the 3rd. They're in a rain delay in Atlanta, so the Mets and Braves have halted things for the time being. Bottom of the 2nd, Rays trailing the Orioles 1-0, and the Cardinals are trailing the White Sox in Chicago 1-0. That one in the top of the 2nd.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
Yeah, you know what you can get me, Pee-wee?
What?
El Hombre.
That was a catastrophe.
I know.
That's a new low.
Yeah.
Roz is better.
El Hombre.
The natural meets Rudy meets. I don't even know how to describe it.
He's here, everybody, every Tuesday at 5 p.m. You bring in the one, the only, El Hombre, Michael Bradley, joining us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. How are you, Michael?
I'm irate. You got to just see this play that Max Kepler tried to make in right field. With a little sinking line drive. He tried a basket catch. He dropped it and then fell down. It's like a little leaguer.
Yeah, I figured.
Lord.
Well, I figured you would not be happy because the Phillies are trailing right now. The Marlins 5-3, the score in that one. But what's going on with your outfielder, Nick Castellanos? Being with he was
He got yanked out of the game last night for defensive purposes, and he mouthed off to the manager, and the manager finally exercised a little bit of discipline for the first time in his life. This team can cruise along because they think they're the cool kids, and then sometimes they play like they're disinterested. They need someone to go in there with an electric cattle prod every now and then and give them the what for. So I'm glad he did this.
Yeah, Rob Thompson called it an inappropriate comment. I like how he sort of paints over it, though. He says, one of the many things about Nick that I love is that he's very emotional. He loves to play. He loves to play every inning of every game. I just thought that last night he made an inappropriate comment after he came out. So today he's not going to play, and I'm going to leave it at that. And then Nick, for his part, he just said, I wasn't happy about it, spoke my mind. He said, I crossed the line, so my punishment is I'm not playing. Is this going to be a problem moving forward, or is this a one and done?
No, I don't think so. I mean, here's the thing. They're at macro. Philly's outfield stinks. Okay, it's underperforming at the plate. Defensively, you've got liabilities out there. Micro, Castellanos is making $20 million a year, and he's still got $20 million more next year. And they need his bat if it ever comes to life. I'm more interested in what he said, which wasn't, this is ridiculous, I'm not allowed to say anything, what about freedom of speech? He didn't pull any of that nonsense. He was a contrite player who, took his medicine, and he'll be back in the lineup tomorrow.
We just had Charlie Furbush on, and he was talking about a situation like that where it was like kind of a mutiny where the players sort of, disagreed with a move. It had to do with a catcher named John Buck. And then we were talking about Kendall Graveman when he got traded here. You ever hear stories of that where, the players like get together and decide to go in and talk to the manager or the GM or whatever? You recall any of those kinds of stories? It's always like interesting to hear, some of the behind the scenes stuff like that.
Well, it's kept quiet. If you've got a manager or a coach who's over the top, at some point the players are going to say, and the team isn't winning. At some point the team's going to say, we're going to just stop trying, or they're going to go in and give them a hard time. Now, sometimes it works. Last year, the offensive line went into the offensive coordinator's office for the Eagles and said, start running the ball. We get this great guy. We want to run block. Start running the ball. Yeah. And after the third week, when people thought they were going to fire Nick Sirianni, they had 3 weeks and then a bye, they come out and start running the ball. And, oh, yeah, they win a Super Bowl. So sometimes it works when the players go and make suggestions because they're the ones on the field, as you know, Dave. But baseball's a weird sport. When the Phillies fired Joe Girardi before hiring Rob Thompson the year that they made it to the World Series, everybody was losing their marbles about him. The fans, I was at a game about a week before he got fired when they lost in 13 innings to the Giants. I stayed for the whole thing. The state of the fans could almost be described as feral, okay? They were so angry and so on edge. Really, I mean, I expected to see some people like run on the field. The players were not happy with him because he was a martinet and somebody who tried to be too much of a disciplinarian. Now, sometimes I think they went a little too far on the other end because Thompson just sort of sits there and looks, sometimes it's like, what does he got, country music on it and an AirPod or something in his ear. But, the team's winning enough. And my problem is I live and die 162 days a year. I'm going to be angry tomorrow if they lose this game. I will be throughout the day upset. And people are like, oh, there's 162. I don't care. Don't give them away.
Yeah. You're telling me that the team never rushed the office of Ruin Tomorrow?
No, nobody. They like Ruin, and he's now doing broadcasting for the team. So seriously, I mean, the fans would have. Are you kidding me? In fact, one of my buddies one time, he was the previous. I think it was it was either Ruin Tomorrow or the previous guy, Ed Wade, who was the general manager, was doing a call-in show live from the stadium, and my buddy was driving into the game, and he called in and started giving the guy a hard time, and they just cut him off.
I love it.
What was your reaction to Rafael Devers being dealt by the Boston Red Sox?
I don't know what the Red Sox are doing anymore. I read something today that said the Red Sox don't like things that are hard. Right? If a player's being a little bit difficult or has a little bit of a conflict, they don't like to deal with that. They want everything to be really nice and happy. And that's a great way to have another, 100 years or however many years it was without winning a World Series. You have to be able to deal with a lot of personality types. And Devers is a good player. I mean, he gets 30 homers a year. So, that's not the best move, I don't think. They didn't get back, I don't think, enough for him. And right now the Sox are, 5.5 back, and they've won 6 in a row, which is great. We'll see if it continues.
Yeah, that's always. First of all, we heard who were the two clowns that were saying alignment. I think it was the GM.
Oh, it was Breslow. Yeah, Breslow and the who was the other one?
Sam Kennedy, the president.
Yeah, it was like a montage of using the word alignment like 20 different times. It was just ridiculous. But I mean, that one was weird. Apparently, it rallied the Red Sox to beat the Mariners, but man, yeah, that one, I don't know, it was very strange. It seems like somebody got pissed off, and it was like almost more of a personal thing than anything else. Now, you did unload like $300 million, right? But still,
yeah,
it just seemed like, whatever they did with him. I mean, they made him a DH. I don't think he played one day in the field, and he's having a great year.
Yeah, and again, you don't always know what goes on in the locker room, the clubhouse. You don't know what everything is. You don't know what an agent is saying. You don't know what the players are saying. I mean, who knows? Maybe they didn't like him. But he's got 15 homers and 58 RBIs in 73 games. Yeah. That's pretty good. And an OPS of 905. You don't see a lot of those.
Jeez.
Is this mismanagement? Is this just a player who was going to make it real difficult on everybody? Sometimes the guy's playing well, but he's such a pain in the neck that nobody wants to be around him.
Yeah.
The Italians call him the miserable.
Hey, were you excited to see Shohei out on the mound yesterday? I know you're not rooting for the Dodgers, but as a baseball fan, I love to see. I mean, you forget how dominant he is as a starter when he's right. I mean, he was hitting triple digits last night. It's the first time he's pitched in a Dodgers uniform. But I'm as a fan of the game, I'm hoping he can return to form and be that ace and be the masher that he's been.
No, I'm not a fan of the game. I respect talent, and I understand that he's a tremendous talent. I want him to come back and stink. Okay, I don't want him to be hurt, but I want him to come back and stink.
Would you feel that way if he were in the American League?
No, not as much. But I don't want, and I hate the Dodgers anyway. So I don't want him to. I mean, if he was playing for the Yankees or he was playing for Houston or he was playing for some of the teams I don't like, I'd still be rooting against him. So I want everybody else to go 100-0 and 162, and I want the Phillies to go 162-0.
Yeah, but you used to root for Ichiro.
But Ichiro was fun. Ichiro was just a dynamic talent and ran and threw, and he had. The more you read about him after he retired, the better he sounds. Ohtani, yes, Ohtani's an amazing player, but Ichiro played for the Mariners. I mean, there was. If you're going to pick a team that I had less worry about when Ichiro was playing for him to be on, there would be nobody but the Mariners. There's nobody. It's like, Mariners, I'm not worried. Go ahead, Ichiro, hit 400.
So if Ohtani,
no offense, but it's the truth.
If Ohtani were wearing a Mariners uniform, you might be caught up in the lore of Ohtani, because we've never seen this in our lifetime. You weren't around when Babe Ruth was playing. Nobody's
Thank
ever.
You. Yeah, you're right. I wasn't.
None of us have ever seen this.
I wasn't born. I was born 30 years after he ended, just about. So, But you're right. And remember, he stopped pitching in the late 19 teens.
Right.
So it's not like while he was hitting 60 home runs, he was pitching. He pitched really well, but then he was so good in the lineup that they had to play him more. But you don't see somebody doing what Ohtani's doing right now, which is play, 4 days in the field or DH and then pitch on the fifth.
Who would be the guy on the Phillies that is the most popular nationally? Is it Bryce Harper still?
I think it's Harper. Just think about it. Who around the league is going, boy, I sure love Brandon Marsh. I love Otto
Probably
Kemp.
Trey Turner would be the other one.
Who's that? Trey Turner might be the other one. Yeah, he's having a good year. He's having his best feeling year of shortstop ever. It's Harper. He's the star. He's the main guy. And everybody else, they're playing pretty good ball without him, and that's great to hear. They're pitchers. Maybe Zach Wheeler also, but, he only plays every fifth day, so people don't really get to know as much about him and follow him as closely. It's like if you don't notice that he's pitching, it's like, oops, I got to wait another 5 days or 4 days.
Hey, what's your take on the voting for the All-Star game? We were watching this, and we're seeing Ohtani and Aaron Judge, as they say, lapping the field as votes go. But it is a popularity contest. It always has been, and we were talking about it. I don't have a huge issue with it because it's an exhibition game and it's a game for the fans. But that doesn't mean the deserving players don't get screwed out of this at times, and guys that aren't deserving get a spot on the team. Where are you at with it?
All right, 1976 was my first year as a partial season ticket holder for the Phillies, 15-game plan, Section 340, Row 2, seats 19 and 20 with my great friend Rich Atkinson. Went to 15 games, $5 a ticket, had an all-star game ticket, and 5 Cincinnati Reds started that year for the National League All-Stars. My friend was so upset he made a giant bed sheet with a picture of the state of Ohio with an arm coming out of it, jamming ballots into a box, and it said, Cincinnati stuffs the ballot box. The next year, I said, that's it. I'm getting involved. I went to the usher's room, and I said, hey, can I get a box of All-Star ballots? They gave me a box of All-Star ballots, 2,000 All-Star ballots. I voted 2,000 times for the 1977, 78, and 79 All-Star, voting only for Phillies and then the first name in each category in the American League. Back when you used to punch out the little pieces of paper. So I love the fan balloting, but I think they should go back to having to do it. Where you got to fill something in or punch something out. This computer stuff's for the birds.
77 was the year for the Reds. So who was that? That was Bench and
76 was the year. 76 was the year. It was like Bench,
Rose, Morgan,
and it was either Foster or Concepcion started. And that was the first year the Phillies made the playoffs since 1950. So they lost to the Reds in 3 games in the NLCS, but the Reds were dynamic. That was they swept the
big red machine, man.
It was an unbelievable team. So the players deserved it, but I was upset, so I decided I was going to do something about it, and I was going to help the cause by voting 2,000 times for the Phillies.
Boy, that's commitment. 2,000 times punching those things out, those little punch cards. My goodness.
Talk about the little chads, the hanging chad.
I'd sit there in my room. I'd turn some music on. I would take a mechanical pencil and get all the lead out of it and push it so that the little nub was sticking out. I'd do them 10 at a time, push them all out. And then, I was going to 15 games a year, so I had ample opportunity to go back to the ballpark, and I'd bring all my ballots and put them in the ballot box.
Nice. I love it. Young Michael Bradley out there stuffing the ballot box. That's good stuff.
Yes, I was committed.
He is El Hombre, Michael Bradley, with us each and every Tuesday. You find him right here. You can find him on Twitter at Daily Hombre, at Daily Hombre on Twitter. Michael, as always, great stuff. We'll do it again next week.
So long, suckers.
There he goes, everybody. Stuff in the ballot box for those Philadelphia Phillies. The Mariners are hosting the Red Sox tonight, and the T-Mobile Park roof will most certainly be open. Another beautiful night for baseball. That's the Mariners Roof Report, brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Time to find out what we learned.
This is a house of learned doctors.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
What did we learn today?
No one's a bigger idiot than me.
Stupidity is the easiest way out.
What did we learn today, Lefko?
Well, Bob, we learned that one time Wyman had a T-shirt with a hole in it, but now he has since classed it up since that hole.
couldn't see my logo.
You're very proud of your logo.
I am.
Yeah, it goes with you wherever you go.
Yes, it does. I take the sticker off, wash the shirt, put it back on.
Nothing says class like putting a sticker on your polo shirt.
Maybe that's what I'll start doing. We were talking about tattoos. Maybe I'll start just putting stickers on. How about that? We did have a discussion about tattoos before the show. But, yeah, Mike thinks he's too good for tattoos. What else?
As do you. Where are all your tattoos then?
I have stickers, Mike. You know that.
That's a good point. Okay.
I took the sticker off. So Arlene Escobar, who just takes great care of us, she comes down here because I had a 710 thing on.
Yeah, you had one of the old logos.
Yeah, so she brings me a new shirt and then a sticker to put over this one. So
you haven't worn the new shirt.
Yeah,
he wore the old shirt and put the sticker back on.
Yeah,
I washed it. I washed the shirt and then just put the sticker back on. It's fantastic.
So you'll go home and take that off, throw it. You'll take the sticker off and attach it to something.
I put it, on the mirror. Yeah.
And then you'll wash that, and when you wear it again, you'll pull that sticker off and put it back on there.
Yeah, that's right.
Class, all class.
Oh, yeah.
We're
at least
we're a fancy show.
At least I don't have holes in my shirt.
As far as we know, we haven't paid attention.
We won't tell you if you do.
Yeah, well, Bob will tell me.
That's right. I will. I'll let him know.
I asked him about it. I'm like, you really, you're doing that, huh?
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
All right.
What else did we learn?
Well, we learned that if sometimes Ryan Roland Smith ever sounds distracted or if he says something incorrectly on the TV broadcast, we know why.
Like I said, I was texting with Ryan Roland Smith about, he's like, no, I like what I see. He was talking about the splitter and whether or not
you bugging him during the game?
Oh, yeah. He texts back all the time.
Like he's got work to do, man. What are you doing?
He seems fine.
He's got to be sharp. Goldsmith will let him have it if he slips. You know? He's a taskmaster.
Don't tell him that. Don't tell him not to text me during the games. Well, a good thing is that Goldie probably doesn't listen to the show. So he doesn't know about it. He's none the wiser.
You should start texting Goldie, see if he responds.
Yeah, I don't have Goldie's number.
Oh, you don't?
Maybe I should get it.
Hey, how's your day going? You sound good.
How's it going? Yeah.
Crazy.
You would be labeled in his phone, Wyman, psychopath.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think he probably prefers you not having his number.
Oh, you think so, huh? We'll put that to the test.
What else did we learn?
We learned that Tim Kurkjian, he's a good sport.
We resisted asking you about Jorge Polanco. It's probably only funny when SVP does it, I think.
Is that I'm a complete sucker for the long Baltimore O's. Even I can't do it. Only SVP, but you took a good run at it.
There you go, the great Tim Kurkjian. Like he was very gracious. You took a good run at it.
Who was the pitcher last night for Boston?
Giolito.
Is that how you say it?
Giolito. I don't know how to do the Giolito. I'm going to have to hear SVP do it. I've never heard it.
Oh, you haven't?
Uh-uh.
It's hilarious. If you just type it in, I think he's at a different site, I believe. And so they're talking back and forth over video. And he starts naming off all of these baseball players that have names that end with O. And that's what a weird accent, man.
So that's Baltimore?
In the Baltimore area.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
Yeah. The ew thing. Yeah, just very strange.
Yeah, I'll have to hear that.
But, I mean, he just giggles like a little kid. Hilarious.
He's got a good laugh.
He even had a little chuckle over my half-assed attempt there.
You took a good run at it.
Well, it is funny. It's at the point where it's the expectation. Yeah, we'll play it for you. There's like a short clip and then there's a long montage where he starts to laugh knowing where SVP is going.
Oh, okay.
So he starts to crack up and then he throws it on there. So
hilarious.
Yeah, it is very funny.
Did we learn anything else?
That is it. That's all we learned today.
That's all the learning? All right. Want to thank our guest today. Good stuff from everybody that joined us. You guys, if you missed anything, you know where to find it. Tim Kurkjian, as you heard there, Lofa Tatupu, Charlie Furbush, and El Hombre Michael Bradley all joined us today. So if you missed any part of that, want to check it out again, head to the podcast page at seattlesports.com. Click the podcast tab, scroll down to our picture, click on that. It'll be right there waiting for you as it is each and every night. You got the Mariners and Red Sox game 2 coming your way next. We'll talk to you tomorrow with Wyman and Bob.
If you haven't subscribed to Seattle Sports on YouTube,
it's amazing. We just got to keep hammering it home.
You're missing part of the game.
The rest is history.
There's so much more than what happens on the field.
This is the place I love.
Subscribe now for in-depth inside information with Brock and Salk.
The Mariners' hit rate was way higher than that.
Bump and Stacy.
Cal's like a coach out there.
Wyman and Bob.
One day, breaking that record would be pretty cool.
Stream it live with the local sports leader on YouTube, Seattle Sports.
Church's Chicken is bringing even more flavor to the neighborhood with our Bremerton location, and we can't wait to share what we've been cooking up. So stop by and try our bold, juicy, flavor-to-the-bone fried chicken with all our only at Church's Fixins. Yeah, your newest fave is waiting with unbeatable deals and unmistakable crunch right here at the Church's Chicken in Bremerton on 4000 Wheaton Way. That's right. Come on down. Friends, family, and neighbors welcomed at 4000 Wheaton Way in Bremerton. See you soon. Church's.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends over at Xfinity. You know, change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, we know that change is all around us. Songs are rewritten and remade. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists, well, they come and go. Even our taste in music, as we get older, can change a bit. But no matter how things change in 5 years, there's one thing that will stay the same, and that is the price of your internet. That's right. Xfinity is introducing a 5-year price guarantee. It means you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Are you surprised? Well, life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Now, restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August of 2024. Go check it all out right online at Xfinity.com/deals.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
You gotta dip your chicken strips. Hey, this is Kiani.
And this is Tabitha.
And a little thing we love about Chick-fil-A chicken strips
is all the different sauces we can dip them in. I like to line up all my favorite sauces so that in every bite, I have a different flavor. Then with the tenderness of the chicken, the juiciness of it, it's all there.
And for me, I like to mix my sauces so I get a little tang and I get a little sweetness all in one bite.
That's what makes it for me. Like, that's what does it for me.
That's what I'm saying.
It's the summer of Chick-fil-A chicken strips and sauces. Order now on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
The home of the Mariners.
Left off to center. It is on its way. Julio, 2-run home run.
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Dave Wyman here for Harley Exteriors, a local company serving all of Western Washington for 23 years. Olympic Series windows are offered exclusively by Harley Exteriors, manufactured right here in Washington, specifically designed for our Pacific Northwest homes and climate. This is the window you want. It looks absolutely stunning, much better than a traditional vinyl window, and these windows last up to 60 years. They're going to lower your energy bills and provide year-round comfort. They come with a double lifetime, fully transferable warranty, meaning not only are you covered for glass breaking or damaged seals, it's going to help your resale and home value. Very affordable with options like 0 payments and 0 interest up to 12 months for qualified buyers. And this June, buy 3 windows and get 1 free, plus an additional $200 off your entire project. Think Harley Exteriors for windows, doors, and more in the Puget Sound. Call 8-333-HARLEY or go to harleyexteriors.com.
Hey, Mike Salk here with some exciting news from a family-owned business that's local here in Western Washington. Yeah, we love to root for these guys. It's Riverside Roofing, and they've once again earned the prestigious GAF Master Elite President's Club. Well, that puts them in the 99.9th percentile of all roofers in the nation. So you might remember I've been talking about only 3% of roofing companies nationally qualify for GAF Master Elite status. But how many of those achieve President's Club? Well, that's only 2%. Truly the cream of the crop. Proudly from Marysville and serving homeowners all over Western Washington, Riverside Roofing is the roofing company you can trust. So what does that mean for you, the homeowner? Well, it means you're hiring the best. A company that gets high marks in performance, reliability, and service, plus an elite warranty to match. Highly reviewed and highly recommended, certainly by me. Riverside Roofing is your go-to local roofing contractor. Book them now and get that roof done fast. I highly recommend them. Go to riversideroofingllc.com. They are the roofing company you can trust.
This is Seattle.